January 5th, 2000, I allegedly put 8 bullets into 3 rival gang members. Every person I shot, every person I beat up, they deserved it. One thing I always wanted to be was a prison warrior. Gangsters come and go. Anybody could be a soldier. I did this for glory. Every prison I landed on was war. That second riot was chaos, but it was organized chaos. We're at war, homie. You know what you gotta do.
My guest this week is Luis Gutierrez, aka Spider, a Nuestra Familia gang leader with the craziest prison story I have ever heard. Spider is from Salinas, California, one of the most gang-ridden cities in America and headquarters of Nuestra Familia, the strongest Latino crime organization in California. Spider was convicted of attempted murder and served 18 years on level 4 prison yards all over the state. The stories you are about to hear are some of the rarest to ever be told by a gang member who served that kind of hard time. I'm talking 100-man riots, brutal stabbings, drug and cell phone smuggling on an enormous scale, and unlike most gang leaders, Spider never dropped out. He stayed loyal until the end of his stretch. These days, he's no longer active, but Spider is still respected as a veterano by Nuestra Familia and the entire Norteño movement throughout Northern California. Check him out on social media and make sure to drop a like and a comment on this episode. You're going to love it. And for more of the craziest, most hilarious prison stories you've ever heard, check out the bonus episode with Spider at patreon.com/theconnectshow. Orale Holmes, buckle up, the Vato Loco himself, Spider, right here on The Connect with Johnny Mitchell.
My first yard was a 7-year riot with the whites, and I stabbed my cellie, and this happened.
7-year
war. Yeah, lockdown war in Salinas Valley.
Wow. So, I mean, there's no rehabilitation. There's no even attempt to do anything besides go to war.
So in my story, I wrote, I wanted to show you a few chapters because I got some people I'm working with now. Warner Brothers, Blair Media.
Yeah.
They're taking me out, whining and dining, and looking at my story, turning it into a script maybe.
Yeah.
So like you said, whoa, we weren't expecting this.
Yeah.
I showed up to the box seats at the Niners game to meet a producer. And I came with successful people, and they're like, who's that guy? And he's like, no gay. I get that a lot. And he's all, that's Spider. And he's like, holy shit. Let me hear your story.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
No, I get that a lot. You don't look the type.
Yeah.
Take my shirt off. I'm not tatted up. I know where I'm from.
Yeah.
But I made a conscious choice not to get tatted up.
When you went to prison.
People were getting hep. I seen a guy lose his leg for gangrene.
Oh my God.
I didn't see it. It happened.
Wow.
I seen a guy get a tattoo right here, and it got infected and looked disgusting.
Yeah.
And plus, I was single cell. Remember, part of my story is I stabbed my cellie, and that is open. It was cool after that. So I was like, cool.
No cellies after that.
He said a story one time. He's like, I don't mind being in the cell. I'm gonna go play with myself, and that's how it is.
Yeah.
But I lived with myself for years.
After you stabbed the cellie, they didn't give you any more roommates.
For a while, they labeled me as a violent predator. Cool, and it worked out in my favor.
Yeah.
Because you have a cellie, you gotta smell it.
I know.
If he has a wife, he's tripping off her kids. If he has 2 years, 10 years, 20 years, he's stressing. Plus, you live in 8x6, less than 35 feet, unencumbered space.
Yeah.
So do the math.
Yeah. Like the size of this table right here is about half the size of a prison cell.
California, this is the space alone. This is more than we have. Remember, 2 bunks, metal lockers. I have all the schematic. I have pictures of all that. Still. Tell my buddy, send me pictures of.
Yeah. Like you're a Norteño.
Yeah.
You're a Northerner.
Yes.
I mean, people think about a Latino gangbanger from California, and they think about a dude from South Central, Florencia. He's got tattoos on his neck. He's short. He's darker, perhaps. You're from a different universe. Northern California, Salinas. Why is gangbanging from that valley, the Salinas Valley, that's home to farmers and John Steinbeck and immigrants from all over the country who came there?
I'll tell you.
Why does it persist the way it does?
So you got to understand, Solid had opened up, I believe, in 47 or 57. And when that prison opened up, you got to understand, mom, dad, sister, and brother would migrate where their loved ones are at. So they would set up shop in that surrounding community. Think about it. Corcoran, all these prison towns have Southerners, blacks, because if their dad's doing 10 years, the wife's gonna follow and be a loyal wife, and they're gonna have some type of relationship with their kids, which is good. Not everybody does that. So when they would come to Salinas, think about it. We have a prison in our backyard. We have 2 prisons. We have a level 4, 96 was built in Salinas Valley, and we have Soledad. And then more importantly, we are the sellable of the world. Our produce is in over 100 countries, literally. So people migrate to Salinas to do the fields. Right. And a lot of these guys are from LA, Mexico, Texas. Right. And, out of 1,000, you got a couple Southerners. Yeah. So they bring their over here and, they think they can wear a blue hat. And I'm not advocating, hey, this is how I am, but this is how it is. Yeah. Like they wear a blue hat and they get shot. And the next guy tries to come and he brings 2 brothers and 1 cousin, and that's 5 people. Right. They're encroaching on northern land. And I could say strongly, out of all communities, my town don't play. Yeah. Like we are the citadel of the West Coast gang culture for a fact.
For a fact.
It's a fact.
And your grandparents migrated there to work in the cabbage fields, as you said. And
my grandpa and grandma came from Texas, working out there, followed the harvest. Yeah. Salinas Valley is the most bountiful valley, 90 miles long, 50 miles wide.
It's unbelievable. It's gorgeous.
Gorgeous. 15 minutes away. Like I wrote a story, and I hate it. Like I said, I want to show you some work I did, but this guy read it. And he was like, bro, I need to see this in the movie.
And the children of your grandparents were the ones that said, working in the fields, I'm going to go to the streets.
None of my uncles, none of my aunts worked in the fields. My grandpa was in the war, military guy, came back home, became a carpenter. My grandma was a nurse for 40 plus years. All my aunts and uncles were born in Salinas. Yeah. And they all, I hate to say, all my uncles died. They were all homeboys, Yeah. They died by the cause, old age.
In prison?
They all made it home.
Okay.
They all made it home. My uncle got out of prison, knew Folsom back in the day, and he was dead 2 days later. They killed him. Wow. Politics. Yeah. Street politics. Southern Northern War. Right. This one was like.
Now, were your uncles, when did La Nuestra Familia, the Northerners, when did they become officially a clique? What year? What era?
The inception, the date is 1968. It's a prominent date. It's well known, September 16th. There's meaning behind all that. But after that time period, like I said, Salinas is and will forever be, like I said, it is the source of power, the source of prestige, and we are like I said, the citadel of Northern culture for so many reasons. We are the vanguard. Our town's right here, and we're just a couple miles from south. Think about it, Bakersfield's an hour away, hour and a half. So like I said, everybody coming in, the influx of day laborers, people working in the fields, and you have 2 prisons in our backyard. Where are those people gonna live at? They're gonna go to Salinas, Soledad, and their little sons and cousins are Southerners, Crips, Bloods, right. And they're gonna do their. I respect it. I'm from Southern LA. Well, welcome to Northern California. This is the worst place to be.
And that's where the beef starts, is when the children of people that immigrate there
Not
from
just
the
children.
South.
You got to understand, some people, when I was out there, we had whites living in our neighborhood. They were from, I forgot, Santa Cruz maybe, but her husband was in prison. So when he got out, they moved into our neighborhood. It was cool. Whites are cool with us. But then again, like he would tell us, hey man, where I'm from, different. Like, we're a small community. We're real close-knit. Like, if something happens, there's so many people that could reach out and assist anybody. If I'm at a bar, hey, man, I'm here at a bar stuck with, by myself, and there's some rivals, someone's going to pull up, or someone's already there. Our town is the L.A., but just add the red. Mm-hmm. We are. That's a fact. We are more dangerous than L.A. That's a fact. Mm-hmm. We are 91% more dangerous, more violent than any city, any town in America. Think about that.
Per capita, yeah.
We are 170 in population. Sacramento's probably 500,000. San Jose's 1 million. Merced, Stockton's bigger than us. Everybody's bigger than us. Right. But they're not bigger than us in crime.
But you guys got thousands of gangbangers in a city of 170,000.
Your grandma's a gangbanger. Your uncle's part thug. If you're from that soil, like we all have a little bit of Salinas gangster in our DNA.
Right.
Like my mom's from the neighborhood. She don't look like it, she don't act like it, but she was originally from the block. Grew up there. She didn't bang it like that.
Yeah.
So all my uncles, my grandma from the neighborhood, we still have the same house in the neighborhood. And like I said, growing up, I wasn't supposed to be a homeboy. Like I was supposed to be different. I excelled. I was a badass in sports. Like that's the only thing that hurts me when I talk about my past. I know I could have been playing Division I somewhere. You know, I had all that. Like I said, when you read my story, like, holy, this guy was a badass athlete.
Oh, yeah, you're built like one.
Yeah, and I'm 47. I'm older than most people, but I know I look different. I got great genes. My grandpa was a beast. I just have discipline. I have commitment. I'm raising 2 kids that I want to see in 30 years. Mm-hmm. I started late in life. Yeah. So I got my twin. He's 7. He's going to turn 8, and I have a beautiful daughter, colored eyes. So do the math. I'm trying to be here for her. I'm their front line of defense. I'm their parent. I'm their gardener. I'm their chauffeur. I'm her doctor. I'm everything in their life. And I still want to be here 30 years, 40 years to watch them develop into what I didn't have.
So what happened?
What happened to me?
Yeah. Why didn't you take the sports route? What pulled you to the streets? I mean, I'm sure you grew up going to visit your uncles in prison. You knew what the system was. You knew what the gang was.
You know what? I'm going to be honest. I remember telling my buddies from the neighborhood, we're young. And I remember when I still remember, it was like, hey, how much time would you do for the hood? And dumbass me was like, I'll do 10 years flat. I'm like, fuck, 10 years? And that's a lot to think. And I was like, I didn't mean it. I just said it. Later on, you know, we start doing some gangbanging stuff, shooting people, everything that entails gang violence, we did it.
Robberies and...
You know what? I'll be honest. I never robbed. I was never a thief. Like I said, I was not a drug addict. Like, I gangbang in the sense that every person I shot, every person I beat up, they deserved it. They were from the same lifestyle, with the exception of one person. I'm not going to talk about it, but I feel bad for what I did to him. But then again, it was so long ago. I was young. I was uneducated, and I learned from that lesson. Like, other than that person, I could say every person I put on their back, every slug I put in somebody, every knife that I used in prison on somebody was for that purpose. Like you. Where I work, Johnny, you know, you're representing your culture, I'm representing mine. I'm not going to be a victim. I always told my parents from the first visit, I told my mom and dad, I said, listen, you're never going to get that call. I'm going to tell you why. I'm always going to be the suspect. I'm going to do everything that I need to do to come back home to you. I told my mom that first visit. And we're talking, and I was like, she didn't want to hear that. You know, she's trying to, do these programs. Like, programming was unheard of for me. My first prison when I talked to my parents was a level 4 yard, Salinas Valley, first visit. So I said, and remember, I got there 3 yards later, major riot kicked off. On lockdown, I see my parents. They're worried about me, you know? I'm a baby. I told my mom, don't worry about it. I'm not going to tell you what's going on here. When I tell you I'm okay, that's all you need to know. And I had to tell my mom, when you write me, she would call me mijo, my son. I said, hey, Mom, like, you can't be breaking me down with that. Like, seriously, you got to detach who I am in here and just roll with the punches. When I say I'm okay, don't ask me any questions. And she's like, she didn't want to hear that.
So explain to me, because I know there's a lot of different sub-gangs, sub-cars in the northern structure, right? But were you, the Nuestra Familia is the mothership. It's the biggest. It is what controls all of the other sub-gangs. Were you actually a part of the NF? And did you come up that way on the streets, or did you just become that when you went to prison?
So in the streets and in the pen, you know, the NF is you know, the respected uncle, you know, Theo. You know, they're right here, and every neighborhood has one. Every town has one. when you have that one person that you go for guidance, advice, who knows, the politics, you view him and you treat him with a certain amount of respect. And in my town, we have a lot more than those people in our town because, like I said, we are the source of prestige where when you talk about our town, and this is factual, and I've been doing my math and asking different homeboys, hey, man, if you have one person from Salinas on that yard, who's running the yard? And he's like, you. Because we do, in my community, it's very structured. From our jail, from the streets, we operate like a closed unit with the same ideas, with the same goals, and the same mindset. Just imagine having a dedicated army of 1,000 soldiers. Discipline, in unison. Can that be said about the whites? Can that be said about the blacks? Can that be said about the Southerners? There's very few, group segments that operate like us, but I know for a fact, in my estimation, that we are the most structured. We are the most uncompromising. Mm-hmm. I tell people, I represent the super minority. What I mean by that, if you have 100 inmates that did 20 years, do the math. Out of 100 Northerners that did level 4 time, you're probably gonna get back, I'm gonna give a good number, 10 out of 100. That's facts.
What happens to the other 90?
They die by the struggle, they roll it up, they get blasted on, they fade away, they become everything that I didn't want to become. Mm-hmm. But out of those 10, you'll find that one that actually has the true merit, sacrifice, and he still has honor. That's rare.
And he becomes the Theo. He becomes the shot caller.
Not necessary. Most people in my community aspire to be something else because it's there. Like, coming from my neighborhood, you want to be like the big homie. So once you acquire that type of status and prestige, cool. Now, what's after that? Most of us know that not to be somebody, but to be respected on the streets, you got to go to the prison route. Mm-hmm. And it's true. I went the prison route. And I thought just because I shot 3 people, I was going to be different. Oh, he's with the business. You get there, and it's different. Shake your hand, welcome to the club. How much time you got? Life changes. It doesn't matter if I have 10 bodies on me. It doesn't matter if I have no bodies on me. You're still going to be treated with the same respect that you deserve until you start putting in the work. That's how I seen it. Mm. Like, there's a hierarchy. You know that.
Yeah.
You have 2 white men. If one's smarter than the other, obviously he's going to be more respected for his knowledge. But if you have another white boy who's just blasting everybody, like, holy, we need that guy. But if you have a combination of both, a politician and a warrior, that's a dangerous weapon right there. Mm. Like, I know what I am, deep down inside. I'm very educated about my cause. I'm very educated about myself. I know what I am, but I know what I'm not.
So do you have to earn, of course, the label of NF to be able to say, I am NF? So
for me, I represent the Norteño movement.
Okay.
I'm in solid standings, which cannot be said for, hate to say it, most of these people that have been on this platform and all these other platforms. What I mean by that,
fair enough,
is I left that environment with my name, reputation, and social standings intact. No blemish on my record. There's no X. There's not a question mark. There's not an asterisk associated to my name, which is a good thing. And like I said, you get 1,000 people with 20 years, I want to see you find the same person like me. It doesn't happen. And I came from an era of war. After 2017, CDC changed. They started releasing all the shoe terms, all the validated guys. Mm-hmm. And with that, that's why I became home. Remember, I was in the shoe at that time. I was in the shoe when all these laws were changing, cruel and unusual punishment, rehabilitation. So what that happened was CDC was like, yeah, let's be a little lenient. Let's let these guys do their time. Let them figure out that opportunities are available in prison. I didn't have those. I'm gonna keep it real. I didn't go to typing class. I wasn't a vote class. I did none of that. I did none of that for the first until I left. I got in a computer class.
Tell us when you went in, how long did you get, and for what?
So January 5th, 2000, I allegedly put 8 bullets into 3 rival gang members. Broad daylight. It wasn't a drive-by. They said someone walked up and shot a bunch of gang members. Obviously, it was true. So I got arrested on January 8th, 2000, a couple days later. And I was arrested for 3 attempted murders, assault with a firearm, gang enhancements, and some other crime associated with the semi-automatic. So got arrested, and I was like, damn. I mean, I got myself into it. Like, my whole life, everybody in my community does this. I'm not even lying, Johnny. When I say I got my boy up the hill who's probably got 10 shootings under his belt, it's true. When I say, my other boy has 15, it's true. The only thing is, I got caught. I mean, I know what I did. I know why I did it. It's broad daylight. You don't get away with,
What kind of gun was it?
It was a semi-automatic 22 Belarus, 30-round clip. And whatever happened, they said I walked up to these guys and put 5 in one, 4 in the other one, whatever. They really didn't have a case per se. They had no gun. They said it was an AK-47, not true. They said the person of interest was 160 with a beard. I'm like, not me. I didn't even have no hair on my body. They threw another charge too, another prior shooting. I'm like, damn. And I accepted their deal. What started was 112 years. My lawyer was negotiating. You guys got no case. Offer him a better deal. So from 112 years, got to 80 years. And then I believe 70 something years. I was like, so my lawyer at the time, I love this dude, and he kept it real with me. He's like, look, this is what I'm gonna do for you. These can't testify against you when they're in the hospital. Think about that. I was like, okay, he's like, let's go speedy trial real quick. We'll force him to come to court. You wanna do that? I was like, and that's gonna wake up the DA and be like, he has nothing to hide. Let's run it. You want to do it? So I'll get you in court 2-3 times a week. Let's do it. So from 112 years, they got down to the 30 range. And I was about to sign for 32. I was thinking about it. 32, 20, 50, damn. Something in my back of my mind was like, I'm not going to get life. I it's weird to say that. I kept telling myself, man, it doesn't end like this. Went to court again, offered 25 years. I was like, man, 25 is cool. That's weird to say it. 25 years sounds cool when you're thinking about your freedom.
And can you get paroled? Back in 2000, did they have a potential to get a bunch of time off?
No. Remember, the laws were stringent back in the day.
Right.
From the late 90s into the early 2012 range.
Yeah.
You do a crime, you're going to do your time.
Yeah, day for day, basically.
Day for day until, I believe, 2015, the subcommittee laws are, my bad,
Right.
The law started changing, lifers, youth offenders. I didn't qualify for none of that, by the way.
Yeah.
I was there for 3 attempted murders. And I said, I'm going to ride this bitch out. I did it. I'm going to serve with honor. I'm going to represent my town. And more important, I'm going to represent myself. So I accepted 18 years, 4 months after they offered me, oh, my bad. So when they got to the 20-year range, I was like, I could take that. But by chance, my lawyer slipped one in. We went to court. Started talking to his lawyer talk. He's like, no, we'll take it all day. And I was like, man, bro, don't play with my life. But he came back and was like, hey, 18 years, 4 months right now. I said, I'll take it. So I could do 18 years. I could do 18 years. Signed for 18 years, 4 months, and I ended up doing almost the whole time.
Yeah.
So do I regret it? I regret certain choices, but that time behind the walls, every sacrifice I made, every body I dropped, every book I read, every lonely night in my cell made me a better person, if that's possible to believe.
I believe it.
Like, I wouldn't be who I am now if I didn't struggle, if I didn't endure hardship, if I didn't go to war my whole criminal career. Because I have peace now. I have a different type of peace that most men, you understand, you've been locked up. You know, I still have PTSD. I still do things a lot different than most people. I'm still aware of my surroundings. I still check everything like 20 times. But my time behind the walls, I don't want to say it was worth it, but it led me to here.
Hey, John, do you feel that?
Feel what?
That's my hard as f***. That's how hard it is. You can feel it. You can feel the spirit of it across the room. Wow. I got aftershocks. I took a Hims pill about 5 days ago, and I'm still bricked up. Guys, Hims, revolutionizing men's health. Because that's what this is. This is health. Check it out. If you're new to Hims, this is what it is. Hims is the world's #1 online men's health company. They're a telehealth company that's disrupting the traditional pharmaceutical and the traditional medical industry. There's no doctor's office visits, there's no co-pays, there's no bureaucracy. Hims brings expert care straight to you with 100% online access to personalized treatments that put your goals first. And it's not just dick pills, okay? It's affordable care for hair loss, weight loss, and much more. Check it out. Today's a Friday that we're recording this. On Monday of this week, I went online to hims.com, and using our promo code CONNECT, I got a prescription in minutes for my erectile dysfunction. 5 business days later, today, that medicine was delivered directly and discreetly to my door. Revolutionary, you guys. To get simple online access to personalized, affordable care for ED, hair loss, weight loss, and much more, visit hims.com/connect. Again, that's hims.com/connect for your free online visit. Got to put that promo code in, hims.com/CONNECT. Thank you, Hims. For real. Thanks a lot. Now, here's a quick little disclaimer. Featured products include compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription is required. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information. Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. So you were on man time instantly when you went in.
Yes.
Instant war. Tell us about where you went and how you integrated with the Northerners when you got there.
Early 2000, I pulled up to Kern Valley Reception Center. That's in Delano, California.
That place rocks.
It was rocking. So you must understand, out of all the prison yards there, there's only one building for us at the time. So just imagine all the Northerners being in one building, and you have Southerners, whites, blacks that control that prison. We had nothing coming. Nothing coming. I'm talking about, man, they would do us dirty, but it's part of the politics. What I mean by that, we would be isolated in our building 6. And remember, all the Southerners, all the blacks, and all the whites had all the jobs. You know, we're a reception center. And our food would come back with shit in it, piss. It was horrible. And I never got mad at that point, but I was like, well, this is a different war. It could be political, it could be physical, it could be manipulated in the way that they do it. So when I got to that yard, we just rocked it. There were still Southerners in our dorm, in the building. And right when I got there, I believe six of the fellas, they got smashed on. Like, keep it real. It was 6 of them stabbed up, probably 50 plus Southerners on them. It's like 6 against 50. They got the business. All right, cool. I pulled up right after that. And it was back and forth. They crack a door open and we'll get them. They crack their door open, they'll get us. But for the most part, in reception, it was, you know, I did a few things there. I put a few people on their back, caught a Southerner slipping twice, caught a white boy slipping, running his mouth, and a black. But that was just politics. Disrespect my people, we're gonna do something about it. But the Southerners will respect, they understand that it's war, bro. It's their prison, and we're not even a guest. So we got to fight for everything we have. And I was okay with that because I come from a place where we are always the hunters. So it's different.
Right.
To have this, target on you. I wasn't scared. I wasn't nervous. It was just like, damn, this is what they feel like in our community.
Right.
So I was only there for 6 months. No major riots or anything. It was already done. They kicked all the Southerners out of the building. It was just fist fights, a couple of slicings. Mm-hmm. That's about it. So I was there for a couple months, and I went to Salinas Valley. I arrived to Salinas Valley in November 2001.
So now you're back home.
That was my backyard.
Right.
So I was back home per se, just a different type of home.
Yeah.
So I was in Salinas Valley. I made it to lower yard, C yard, and no bullshit. I was there. I probably seen my very first yard. It went down, like first minute out. No bullshit. So I got out the yard from my building. I'm in C4. I walk out. I see some fight. Okay, cool. Another incident, and then yard was done. Next yard, we already know it was about to go down. War is war. And I believe the Southerners did something, so they locked down the yard. But I remember on the third yard, it was. This is what everybody talks about. This is prison. It was against the whites. And I remember I got to my group, the OGs there. Hey, man, you're right here. Anything happens, that's your guy right there. All right, cool.
What do you mean, like?
We all have targets. During war, we want Johnny. If you're the richest on the yard, you're the most influential, you're their big homie, we're going for you, Johnny. Why are you going to go for a bunch of tweakers, drug addicts?
Right.
No, you want the guy who has the most influence. You want the guy who has, that yard.
Yeah.
And I could say confidently, man, that riot was my introduction into the world I was going to live in for the next 18 years.
Wow.
That first riot, it was we had two brothers on our handball court. We had people on the yard, following their targets. We had another group where they're supposed to go in the white area.
Yeah.
But I remember the two white boys came to our area, and they got the business. I remember one of them got stabbed, I want to say 30 plus times, and the other one was 70 something times.
Wow.
And I remember, because I was right there that was my area. I had the basketball court. And I was supposed to be watching this guy, my target, but he laid it down. So like, cool.
What do you mean he laid it down?
He didn't even get up to engage.
Okay.
He was supposed to, the word was,
Yeah.
But he seen his buddies just get butchered.
Wow.
Like, that first riot set the tone for everything I was going to do.
Now, did those dudes survive?
They all survived.
Okay. Now, did you already have your banger on you? You showed me a picture of a knife that was not small.
No, so those pictures I showed you, those are the type of weapons we made. And in my paperwork, you can see the type of weapons that I used. Mm-hmm. Bangers are there's different bangers in prison. That what do you call them? Burners, I think. Mm-hmm. You got your regular burner, one shot. It's like a 22. Yeah. But when you got a good flat steel rod, that's like an AK-47 in there.
Yeah.
First yard, I was given. It wasn't a piece. It was a tomahawk. A tomahawk is this fastened material out of razor blades, and this one was vicious. It had two pointed that way, two pointed that way, and I was like, "Wow, right here, get that guy." I was like, "All right, cool."
Now, are you trying to go for his neck, or are you able to like slice his body? Like, how do you?
Depends how the situation unfolds. The situation that time was if he jumped. I had two other guys with me, by the way. I had two other guys, one from Sacramento, one from Hanford, or not Hanford, Madera. And they were, remember, these guys are older than me. They were like, if anything happens, jump. Just wait on my calls. All right. I wanted to jump. I was like, let's go do this. This is what I'm here for. And everything just slowed down. Like, watching just a great act of violence, it registers real quick. You see so many things. You hear so many things. But your mind is quickly brought back into reality when that Mini 14 goes off on a 180 level 4 yard. A level 4 yard 180 is a concrete enclosure. It's not no open fence. It's all concrete. So when that bullet goes off, the ricochet, it's
Brings you back to life.
real quick. And I remember the tower shooting. I'm like, man, welcome to prison. So,
and those dudes, like, how fast does it take to stab somebody 70 times?
quick. I done some shit. I hit someone one time, and I remember I did it. And the joke was like, you didn't even do anything. And I felt that way too because he didn't drop or anything. But I hit someone one time in prison and escorted him out. And as soon as he went to the wall, he collapsed. And they life flighted him out. So I was like, proud. I said, look, you see how fast I did that? That's all it took. I probably, less than 10 seconds. I put, I want to say 12 to 15 holes in one guy one time.
To his back or to his chest?
Oh, no, I went straight from behind, just poked him in the face and neck. Yeah, I set him up. I set him up, had him walk to you. I came from behind us, gave him the business.
And then he just turns and walks away?
No.
Or you walked him out? What do you mean? You escorted him out?
So one guy hit. So we knew we were going to hit him. He was trying to masquerade as another race group. You don't do that, bro. You don't come back to prison and be something else. Like, are you fucking
always
stupid?
get found out.
Exactly. The SEALs told us, hey, you got a buddy over here. Oh, what? Hey, what's up? Seen him? All right, cool. And during that time, I could say, like I said, when I did that, man, the SEALs at that time were showing us love. They're like, look, you got this in the yard. We're going to be gone at this time. Cool. So it happens like that.
Wow.
So SEALs gave us a heads up. All right. And, everything's organized and planned out accordingly. And I remember that I just came up from behind and just passed the piece. Had the guy go hide it, what he was supposed to do, he did it, and I had someone else just bomb on him. The guy that jumped on him up. So like, hey, we didn't see anything happen until later on that night. So I was like, hey, man, that guy got life flighted out. I was like, oh, shit. Cool. Another striped.
Yeah.
So, and I got away with it.
And the COs, are these usually, when they're friendly to you guys, are they usually Latinos? Are they usually Northerners themselves?
Just so it varies. So me personally, I had COs. Then again, the way you conduct yourself is the way they're going to conduct themselves against you. If you're an asshole, running your mouth, crybaby, they ain't going to f you. But on that yard, we had a lot of Mexican SEALs there. A lot of them from San Jose, Salinas. And they would show us, some type of love. And that day out of all days was a white SEAL. Cool as f. I always remembered him. I'll tell you another story later, but he was cool with me. At that time, that was my first yard I could say I walked the main lane. All the yards I've been to before were all locked down. That was 5 prisons before that yard. That was 2007. Now, by that time, I was already in Corcoran, Salinas Valley, Delano. Got there. We finally got some program. First time for me. So we're doing our stuff. Southerners are locked down. And the blacks, they went at it on the right. I seen it. I mean, it was all right. But they were locked down. But at that time, we had some SEALs that were sympathetic to us. Hey, man, you got a guy here. Go do what you guys can do. And they do that a lot. Like I said, I gotten away with so much shit just based on my mannerism with them. Like, true story. I did some shit, and we could call the guy right now. We were in a big riot, and they gave me the knife back. Yeah.
The COs gave you the knife
hey,
back.
man, respect.
Wow.
It's like, we're not worried about anything you did on that yard. We're like, what are we talking about? We seen you. Like, these are guards at the end of the day. I don't know what you're talking about. And he opened up his pants leg, and he's out here. I was like, is this yours? I was like, I ain't making shit. He's like, hey, man, I remember that day after we came back from medical, because I got shot during that riot. And he told us, whatever you have in your cell, whatever you're going to have later on, you deserve to have it. He told me that.
Holy shit.
Because we were just in a big riot, another riot.
What prison was this?
Salinas Valley, years later.
Okay, so, and what was that riot over? And tell us how you got shot.
So January 2010, I was in Salinas Valley B Yard. And at that time, the blacks just rushed us before I got there. Whatever it was, it happens. Disrespect, money. There's always something. Prison is a revolving door. There's always something going on.
Yeah.
I'm sure you wake up in prison, you know this. It's always the pettiest issues that get the most attention. When it throws $10,000, why aren't you stabbing that guy? Oh, because I want my money back.
Right.
But when someone is disrespecting you outright, you're gonna let that slide? Not me. Like, anybody that knows me, I've been like this my whole entire life. Like, I don't take shit from anybody, especially another race group. And I look like this because genetics. I don't look like a gangster. I don't act like one. I don't dress like one. But I am from a community of bad. And if you think I didn't grow up in the neighborhood fighting, shooting, I'm a product of my environment. Everything that's been done before me is going to be done again after me. I was just growing up in an environment where gunplay was normal. Shootings were everyday occurrence. Having your boy get shot, losing 3 of your boys in one day is facts. We come from a small little community, but man, we're badass. And I'm proud of where I'm from because I know what.
So what happened on this riot?
That riot, disrespect. That riot was some bullshit. We got there, they were already on lockdown. And we knew we were gonna get off soon on lockdown. Long story short, I got into it with the sergeant. Bitch ass fool. Like, I don't disrespect COs or anything, but this one was running his mouth. So the day before the riot, they came and searched us, only us, our cell, tore it up. They know, they're looking for weapons, cell phone. I got caught with a cell phone that day. I'm like, all right, whatever. But when they were searching us, one of the sergeants was like, oh, you ready to go to yard? Black guy. And I told him straight up, bring all your people, man. Like, you think we're scared to go to yard? Like, I told him, bring all of them. And I was talking shit. I never talk shit, but that. Like, you're gonna talk shit too much. Knowing damn well, like, the blacks are the most unorganized, least respected people out of everybody. I told the sergeant the day before, I said, bring them all out. And he's like, okay. And I was just talking shit. Next day, they released 2 of us out, just me and my celly. And we hit the yard. It's like South Africa there. No bullshit. It was supposed to be 2-on-2. In prison, it's usually 2 versus 2. It's called incremental. After lockdown, they want to see if you guys are going to go talk and get along. They make it fair. 2-on-2, it's usually the OGs. The old guys, they're not going to get off. But if you release 2 youngsters, hey, man, we're at war, homie. You know what you got to do.
So they released 2 blacks and 2 Norteños.
They released, before yard, they were releasing blacks out for medical and all that shit. Right. There was like 30 blacks out already. So when we came out, they brought the whole CDC down upon us. 10 guards on each side, patting you down, all that shit.
Yeah.
It's like, all right. Hit the yard as soon as we walked out, like, damn. All right. Told my celly, what's up? We have about 30 people right there.
So it's just 2 homeboys.
Just 2, just me and my celly, yeah.
And 30 of them.
No, wow. At first it's about maybe no more than 25. And mind you, these are the guys that are going for medical. All the guys in wheelchairs, right. Guys with 1 leg. Mm-hmm. And we're looking at it as like, bro, we could bust on all these fools right now. And we're joking about it. Come on, fools, go get a fool in a wheelchair. I was like, it's not going to matter. As long as what's going to matter is in your paperwork, 10 people got stabbed. It's not going to say he was in a wheelchair. It's not going to say that guy had 1 eye. So we're joking, hey, man, what's up? You want to go blast? He's like, nah, let's wait. And we walked the track. They're all scared. Keep it real. Walked the track, and we posted up at our handball court waiting for someone else to come out. And here comes 1 block. And it's like what I imagine if you go to in South Africa to a farmer's market, it's all blacks. And I'm not being racist, I'm being factual. I told myself, it's like, bro, Africa just came out. It's all blacks. It was blacks, 100 blacks on the yard already. So we're chilling. I was like, by ourselves. So this time we counted 100 blacks. So this is why I tell you this. So we're posted up at our handball court. You got the Crips Bloods everywhere, Bay Area.
And do you know where your knives are buried?
No, so we've been locked down the whole time.
Okay, so you didn't even have time to get out there to
So at that
keep a
time,
weapon.
at that time, I had long hair. I had long hair all the way past the back of my knee. Oh, my bad. So I had long hair past my back of my knee. And I would put in a ponytail, true shit. And I would put a banger in there. I used to do it for my phone. Only one time I ever got searched, man, I panicked. I ain't gonna lie. And it was a cool CO. Shout out to him. He knows who he is in Delano. But in Salinas Valley, that was my backyard. And I'm not gonna put any CO on blast, but the night before, I got a text from one of my buddies. Hey, just so you know, when you and your celly go out tomorrow, they're gonna be filming you guys. Everything that they want to catch you with a piece. I was like, damn. Like they wanted us. Like I said, I just talked shit to the sergeant of the blacks. Bitch ass fool, I can't stand them anyway. But we went out. Africa was on the yard. We started hitting the track. The Bay Area came up to us first, Hey, we'll say, man, we want no funk. We got you brothers. That's all talk. We're staying out the way. They gave us a heads up. Good looking out. We already knew what time it was. We're good, playing the part now. We're cool, we're starting the program. So me and my celly took a lap. Little guy. And we're like, what do you want to do? And we're walking, it's funny, man. Like two lions walking in their habitat, all the gazelles, all the hyenas recognized. And that was happening. We're walking the yard and the blacks is trying to avoid us. Finally, we seen two of our homies coming out 20 minutes later. So we were waiting for them. And as soon as they got closer, it was on. They rushed us. And I'm talking about, I think the number was 89 to 90 blacks in my paperwork. But there was like 100 in.
Rushing 4 people.
So they rushed us. Like I said, I hate to say it, I'm not trying to be rude, but the blacks are very unorganized. Like, I'd rather get hit by 100 blacks than 2 Southerners. 2 Southerners will get you. 3 will kill you. 100 blacks, come on. They're not gonna use a piece. They're gonna do mob mentality. They're gonna jump, kick.
Right.
At the end of the day, that's not too bad. Been doing that shit my whole life. But during that day, when they rushed, it was comical in so many ways. We're posted up in our area, and my son's like, what do you want to do, man? We could go over there. We got 20 blacks over there. We got 40 blacks right there. And I'm like, let them come to us, bro. We got a wall behind us. So when they start shooting, we got a handball wall. And we've seen our homies coming to them, taking forever. And as soon as they hit the gate, they got about 10 feet by us, they rushed. About 25 the first time. So we met them head up. But before I say it was comical, one of them rushed us and he fell. Like he tripped over himself, and I shit you not. When he was falling, like in front of me, I gave him one knee to the face. I had to get a tetanus shot. And I caught his tooth on my knee. I still have the scar through my pant. I caught him in the knee, dropped him, now it was on. So we're going at it, me and my celly. I think the first wave was like maybe 25 to 30 people. And we're going toe to toe, we're going at it. They overwhelmed him for a second. Let me help him out. But ultimately, they rushed us about 25 the first time, maybe couple minutes, seems like forever. And they back away. We're back up. And we never go down. And then the next wave comes. I think the next wave was like a bunch of bloods, maybe like 30, 40 bloods. Come on. Serve them up too. We're going at it. They didn't do shit. My celly, now we're pissed. Adrenaline's up. Let's do this. We're smacking them. We're all we're hitting everybody. I could say my celly, I was proud of him. I'll tell you the story later about him, but man, that day, we've been training for this. When he came in my cell, the very first moment, I said, look, man, we're at war. We're about to get off soon. I need to know if you got my back. If not, let me know right now, bro. I could stab you right now, or you could do whatever you gotta do to get the fuck off the yard. And I was like, no, I got you, bro. I was like, cool. As soon as he came in, good guy. I was like, look, bro, we're at war. I'm gonna do some shit. You got me? Sure enough. And during that ride, I everything's slow motion. I'm trying to fight and 50 blacks right here, and I look at him and he's just rocking. I'm like, and it pumps you up. I don't have to take care of him. He don't have to take care of me. The other two homies, they got overwhelmed, but in a good way. They isolated a couple guys over there. They stayed with those guys. Me and my celly, we probably went head on with about 90 blacks that day. 3 different waves.
And you can get dropped?
Never.
Wow.
Never got dropped. Never been dropped in prison. I never been stabbed. I never been sliced. I never been... All that shit that these people speak of from a victim's perspective never happened to me.
So then how'd you get shot? When did they start shooting?
They started shooting from the first round. Get down.
Right.
They're shooting, whatever. I ain't sure. I'm not worried about the shots. I'm worried about 30 trying to kill me. I'm worried about my celly. Ultimately, we are one and one together. He's my main priority. If he goes down, I got to assist him. I told him, if I go down, you assist me. That's how it works. Don't get overrun. Don't take off and chase anybody. And everything we practice, everything we live by in that cell, 100%. He did the shit. And we around to this day.
So how do you avoid getting shot?
Stick and move, bro. So in a riot, remember, I'm in a riot. You got a multitude of people in front of you, on the side of you. It's chaos. You got people running towards you.
Right.
So initially, the guards are supposed to shoot on the floor or ricochet off the floor.
Right.
So when they're ricocheting shots, I can't hear them yet, because I'm in the thick of it. At this time, it was the second wave. They're already shooting. I'm like, I could hear it, but I'm not tripping. So after the second wave, like that one was intense. We backed up for a second, and we're like, we're breathing hard. I was like, you cool? I was like, yeah, cool. And here they come again, another wave. I was like, got up. We weren't even, oh my bad. At that time, after the second wave hit, they were shooting like crazy. And the blacks, you shoot on the yard, blacks take off running. Come on. I'm sure you've been locked up. If a white man is stabbing someone, that white man is going to finish the job. If a Southerner is stabbing you, that Southerner is going to do the job. No disrespect to blacks, but like I said, I'd rather fight 100 blacks.
Understood. So only when the CO sees you stabbing somebody are they allowed to shoot to kill, right?
So in California, if a life is in immediate danger, the guard will shoot that person who is the suspect.
Right. Okay. Happy New Year, everyone. Today's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. We are deep into basketball season. NFL playoffs are in full swing. I am firing on action weekly, and I only do it with PrizePicks. You guys know PrizePicks by now, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. It's just you versus the numbers. Pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. It's available in California, Texas, Florida, and Georgia. And check it out. They've got wild new deals they rolled out. I love early payouts. Get this. If your player gets off to a hot start, you now have the option to cash out those winnings before the game even finishes. So you can get your chips off the table before the game's even done. That's awesome. And now with the new social feeds feature, you can share PrizePicks with your friends and copy lineups from winners with a single click. Copy lineups you like or use them as inspiration for your own picks. You can even follow PrizePicks partners like us and tail or fade your picks with just one click. So if you don't really know a lot about sports, you can just follow the picks of somebody that's really into it. Boom. Couldn't be easier. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code CONNECT to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CONNECT, CONNECT, to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. It's good to be right. Today's episode is brought to you by my OG sponsor, my partner, a company of who I am a faithful client of now. I'm talking about Mando Whole Body Deodorant. Mando is, you got it, a whole body deodorant. You can put it on any part of your body, your thigh folds, your belly buttons, your butt crack. That's mostly where I put it. Even your feet. Mando was created by a doctor who saw firsthand how BO was being misdiagnosed and mistreated. It's clinically proven to block odor all day and control odor for up to 72 hours. And the best part is that Mando deodorant is completely free of aluminum, baking soda, parabens, dyes. It's even vegan. Choose from a variety of delicious scents like bourbon leather, clover woods, Mount Fuji, or Pro Sport. And check it out, Mando is now gone big. They're a big time company now. You can get them in Walmart, Target, and other big retailers across the country. But for the best deals, you got to go to shopmando.com. Check it out. New customers are going to get 20% off site-wide with our exclusive code. Use code Mitchell at shopmando.com for 20% off site-wide plus free shipping. That's shopmando, shopmando.com with that promo code Mitchell. Please support our show and tell them that we sent you. Mando's got you covered.
So you try not to stab somebody in a riot. You try to hit them when obviously the guards can't see.
So actually, no. A riot is pretty much a free-for-all. This is where you want to hit people because you get away with it. In a riot, it's weird. If you're in a riot, the most time you get is 90 days.
Okay. Even if you stab somebody.
If you get caught stabbing
Right.
someone. During that last wave, get down, Gutierrez. They were calling my name on there. Gutierrez, get down. I'm like, hell no. I'm going to get mine again. So on the third wave, me and my cellie started going at it with these guys. We caught a black. Remember I told you we got one of the guys, but it started f***ing them up. And get down. And for a second, I looked at the tower. I'm like, you. Don't tell me to get down. And he apologized later, I remember. So got back up and boom, felt it. I was like, oh, we playing, huh?
Where'd you get hit?
The first time I got hit in my ass. But I felt that, like, oh, all right, cool. Didn't really faze me, adrenaline's pumping. And the second time I got shot in the back. And then we're trying to disengage. We're trying to separate ourselves from the mess because 7 to 10 feet, there's blacks everywhere. You can't prone out. We're not going to prone out. So there was a black who tried to do some hero shit, and we snatched him up. And we literally got him on the floor, and I remember just racking on him, looking at all the blacks, like 100 blacks on the yards. Come get him. They left him.
And you're leaking at this point. Did you even feel the gunshots?
No, I felt the ass one.
Yeah.
That one, damn, that one hurt. It didn't hurt. It woke me up. But I got hit twice already. I didn't know I got hit later, but the third one was the one that got me. So the third shot, when I'm, get down, I'm not going down. I'm not going down until we leave this yard on our terms. Like I told myself, we are going to be the last standing. You got that? And true to form, true to our word, we were the last one standing that day. And so I was the last one fighting, and the tower just boom, put one in my back. And I felt it. I was like, ooh. I was like, all right. And we're kicking back now. Smoke everywhere, pepper spray everywhere. And my cellie and I, we back up, we prone out. And I, get down, all that bullshit, theatrics, SEALs do. We're down, I look at him, you cool? Like, yeah, I'm cool. And I know bullshit, we're on the floor, and I gave him a little hug. I was like, I love you, fool. He's like, I got you, fool.
You realize how lucky you are that he didn't hit your spine
so
or your
I'm
lower?
gonna tell you what happened after that shot. So after that, we get up after the SEALs, do their little thing, investigate, flex cuffs and medical, and they try to get me up. And I can't feel my body, my lower body. I'm like, and my son's, hey, you okay? And that day, like I said, everything happens for a reason. The SEAL I met that day that had to escort me, long story short, he grew up in my neighborhood. He's like, he's been waiting to meet me. He's like, hey, I know who you are. I was like, who are you? Long story short, when I was on the floor, I couldn't move my leg. I'm telling myself, hey, I can't get up. I'm like, what? And I didn't want to get up and give the blacks any ammunition, like, hey, this guy can't walk. We took him out in the stretcher, because that didn't happen. And I remember talking to the SEAL, was like, hey, you all right? I was like, hey, I can't feel my leg. I'm not trying to be a little bitch, like real shit. And my son said, you okay? So I was like, hey, man, we need to take you to medical. I was like, do me a favor. You can't escort me from here to medical, bro, because there's 150 blacks on the yard. And they throw me on that stretcher, that means we lost. And they're like, it was a cool SEAL, man. I ended up meeting another one that day. And they're like, what do you want to do? I was like, man. And I remember the medical guy coming, you can't feel your legs. I was like, don't make a big deal. But I can't feel my right side of my body right now. I'm like, and that SEAL goes, look, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to pick you up. And he called another SEAL. It's like, we're going to pick you up and walk you across. Is that cool? And my son was like, do it. I was like, well, I got no choice. I was like, bro, don't bring a stretcher out. Don't bring a wheelchair out. I'm like, we got you. So I remember the SEALs picked me up. You're cuffed up. And like, I couldn't feel my leg. I was like, couldn't feel my leg. Long story short, I went to medical. And what happened was, it's called Raynaud's syndrome. They hit me at the exact spot of my nerve, which basically cut off my nerves from my leg. Right. So I couldn't walk. It was numb. So my leg, when I got shot, the aftermath was, man, my nerves just wouldn't work. Literally, I couldn't move. I couldn't sit up. My leg was dead. So they rushed me to the hospital, did a bunch of tests, and they were doing tests for a couple of weeks to figure out. And finally, they had some guy I remember, he was a cool guy, from BYU, specialist, came to visit me in hospitals. Hey, man, this is what you got. Raynaud's syndrome is nerve damage. So you'll be able to walk again. You just got to stretch your leg out, move it. So I do that all the time. But I had a wheelchair for like a couple weeks in the hole. After the riot, they gave me a wheelchair. I was like, I ain't using that. I would only use it when I had to go to medical. I was milking it after that. But I got nerve damage, and it took me down for like almost 10 months.
Has that fucked you up to this day?
You know what? Better now. No more. I'm good. 100%. But in prison, I was probably at a disadvantage for about maybe a year. My arm would just die.
Wow.
It was I literally, I'll be sitting. So I had to go to the hospital a few times in there. So one time we're sitting down, me and my cellie in the hole, and I try to get up. When you try to, like, what the, and I can't get up. It's like, oh man. I was like, dude, I was tripping. Man down, rushed me to the hospital, did a bunch of tests, came back. I'm like, hey, you got Raynaud's syndrome. Or later. Yeah. All right, cool, nerve damage. That's all it was.
So how did you ascend within the ranks of the NF as time's moving on and you're getting all these stripes?
So
what kind of responsibilities did you have?
So I did ascend the ranks of the NF. So remember, the NF is the beloved uncle, the father figure. Me, we're the rowdy ass kids,
Right.
When uncle or dad has a problem, they're gonna send those kids out.
Right.
And at that time, all my brothers, all the OGs were slammed down. They're all slammed down in Corcoran, Pelican Bay, and the federal system. So the main lines were ours to operate and control, and essentially wage war on the behalf of our people.
Okay, tell us about how you would get messages from Pelican Bay, from the shot callers, all the way to wherever you were at.
So this goes for everybody. At that time, we had 32 prisons. You got a constant influx of people arriving to a prison and leaving to a prison. And that goes for Pelican Bay and everywhere else that, leadership is at. When a message needs to be sent, they could send it with a body. They could, an actual body. Hey, man, here's a coded message. Send it out to wherever you're going. They could do it through mail, letters, lawyers. There's so many ways. There's so many ways that, remember, you're a criminal. You got all day to think about getting that message out.
And did you know how to read in the encoded letters? How did you learn that?
So for example, early in my prison career, I used to get Sudoku. I used to get crossword puzzles, and I got good at them. And I used to do especially the crossword puzzles. And I was like, man, you could create a code with this, a codex. And I would get certain books like that, and then what was popular was Dan Brown books and the codes and all that. So I would check those out. But in order to be successful in code making, you got to have a codex that only you, the other person, could decipher. Like you could tell your wife, hey, please feed the 2 dogs, 3 cats, and say hello to your mom. That could be a code right there, Your mom owes $2,000. Or is your mom good or bad? There's so many messages within messages. But at that time, I was just a regular soldier like everybody else. So the orders that were coming, they weren't directly in my hand. They would go to the facility and they would filter them out. Hey, man, so-and-so's all bad. So-and-so's all good. Or we're at war. Right. It's an underground it's an underground culture of communication. Like it's pretty fascinating if you sit down and talk to someone who's actually created codes who's actually relayed codes, but more importantly, who's actually has an understanding of that lifestyle.
Would you get taught that by whoever was running whatever facility
No,
you were at?
So at that time, you are taught certain things. You are taught everything: how to be a great criminal, how to be a loyal servant. There's certain things that you just have to pick up on your own, because not everybody's going to be in a position of power. Not everybody's going to be in a position to delegate responsibilities. And to keep it honest, you got 100 men, 75% of these guys are drug addicts.
Even in the NF?
In the NF, at the time, no. Like I said, when I say I represented the most structured environment, my elders prohibited hard drug use.
Right.
And I appreciated that. I'm sure some people do it. Come on, we're all criminals. We all come from the streets. But me personally, I seen my uncles do it. I seen people in my community do drugs, and I never liked it. I never had like, hey, I'm gonna go do some heroin. Never. I was more into females, sports, and kicking with the homies.
But in prison,
in prison,
it's against the rules.
Well, for us, like I said, we have very structured rules, and one of them is you really can't be a full contributing member if you're indulging in drugs, because drugs are gonna create so many problems. You can't concentrate when you're on drugs. Can you call shots when you're on drugs, or are you gonna be a different person? Like for me, like people that do drugs, I'll keep it real. Stay your ass over there.
But are you guys moving drugs though? You guys are selling drugs.
Drugs are profitable in prison. They are probably the number one, illicit trade in the black market.
So for the NF, was it heroin? Was that the big mover?
Well, I'm not going to say NF, but in general, every drug that is available will sell. Think about it. You got guys who are entombed in a concrete box. They don't get to go to the dope man down the street like in their neighborhood. So when drugs come in, it doesn't matter if it's cigarettes, weed, heroin, ice, it's going to sell. And there's always something for everybody. But the number one drugs when I was around, heroin sold. Heroin will always sell. Cigarette sells, pretty fast. But when I was around, the China White came out. People were giving up their whole locker for stuff.
Yeah.
And crystal meth.
Right.
But like I said, people are popping pills now. People are doing everything that is
K2 and
oh yeah.
all that new shit.
I seen guy in Salinas Valley. I know some guys that wigged out on that.
Yeah.
I remember one of my buddies sold something to a guy and he OD'd like 3 times in that weekend.
Wow.
Like, bro, like it's how bad it is.
Did you have a responsibility to sell drugs, or what? Are there soldiers within the NF structure whose duty it is to hustle and bring in revenue? Or how does that work? Or is it every man for himself?
So you got to think of every organization. It has to be run like a Fortune 500 company. You have a CEO, you have a CFO, you have executives who delegate and who are responsible for money revenue. There's people who are responsible for, the crime side of fixing your household, getting rid of those who are not worthy or those who are no longer acceptable. Like I said, there's so many things going on in prison, not just from the top, but from the bottom as well. Remember, all the drugs that are moved in are done in a manner that is a reflection of our people. Who's going to bring drugs in? Your mom, your sister, your aunt, your uncle, your homies. Everybody's going to do it. I've been in prison at Visit where this pretty white lady, maybe like 50, was bringing drugs in. I didn't even know. And they snatched her up right there. I was like, damn, anybody does it. Everybody does it. But
within your rank, your structure.
In my structure, it goes like this. There's always those at the top who are part of the chain of command. They're in charge of everything. They're in charge of Johnny Mitchell being alive on the yard. They're aware of the time you have. They're aware of the shit you did in your past that is on paperwork. So in order to run a successful household, there's many things involved. You need to be security minded. Okay, we get that. But you also have to have revenue to take care of your brothers who don't have anything and to take care of those brothers who require assistance, who are locked down in the shoes, who are not getting anything based on the fact that these brothers are there for a reason. When I say my elders, I say this with the respect that they deserve. My elders were gangsters. You know, my elders were the men that inspired me to be not just a regular soldier. Anybody could be a soldier. I wanted to be something different. I didn't want to be a gangster. I will never label myself as a gangster because gangsters come and go. The men I was watching, the men I was emulating, the streets where I come from, they taught me differently. So I was like, man, I did this for glory. I didn't do it for a paycheck. There's no 401k plan. They're not going to match, you know, my benefits based on the time I did. So there's so many factors going on, but one thing I always wanted to be was a prison warrior. Mm-hmm. I was like, man, those guys do legendary shit.
So then how does it work? How do you guys, the people that make money, do you put it into a fund?
So
because I imagine some of that's got to get kicked up to the shoe, to all the bosses, right? So
Walmart, you go shop at Walmart, you buy some goods, you know, that specific Walmart makes $100,000. Whoever's the manager of that Walmart, you know, they need to get back at the CFO and the CEO and, hey man, we made this amount of money here. Okay, what's the percentage? That's on them. But ultimately, when you're making money, everybody's taken care of. Think about it. If you're introducing narcotics, illegal substance, or any contraband, it's with the understanding that, hey, you're not going to get rich off this. And you're especially not going to be rich when your manpower are suffering. So basically, you know, there's implements, or my bad, there's policies in place. Hey, man, it's all good. Bring what you got to bring at your risk. Don't bring, you know, things that are going to get you attention. Like marijuana. People bringing marijuana at visit. It smells.
Right.
Like I seen it. Like, bro, you're trying to hoop a ball of marijuana, you can smell it at visit. Like, bro, it's stupid. But if you're going to bring something, ultimately, it's for everybody. Yes, you're going to make a good percentage of it for yourself, but at the same time, even me, when I was bringing contraband, moving all these things, you could ask my manpower at the time. I would bless every building with like a couple of balls of dope. This is for you guys, but make sure we stock up what we need.
Right.
Because not everybody's fortunate.
Right.
You guys, you have guys doing 20 years. Think about that. They got what, a grandma, a mom? After 5 years, most people start losing. Well, me, yeah. I was very blessed.
But people fall off though if you do that much time.
Yeah. Johnny has 20 years. You know, your mom's gonna be your mom, but at the same time, she's gonna get tired of writing letters, sending you packages of money, and it's hard. It's a hardship. Yeah. Like, it's not much to take care of someone behind the walls. It's more of the emotional part. But
okay, so you were bringing stuff in.
Oh, of course, everybody does.
Okay. Dope, heroin.
I brought in whatever I could. I did it differently. For example, like I never did the visiting little sack balls. Yeah. That's very amateur.
Yeah.
Me, with the paperwork you saw, I got busted in prison with an iPad, PlayStation, an Acer computer, cell phones, Tupperware from the streets. I had food brought into me from guards and all that are fascinated with me. I had it pretty good. And the reason why I say I had it pretty good, so after the first riot I told you about, those COs showed me the utmost respect that anybody could have on that yard. When I came back to that yard, this is no exaggeration, they were calling my cellie and I Spartan, the Northern Spartan riot. Just remember, for 100 to go at it against 4 and not kill them, that's embarrassing. Like I said, I'll take 100 blacks any day against 3 Southerners. If it was 3 Southerners, I wouldn't be here. Probably be in a wheelchair, all f***ed up, but I'm not. But after that riot, this is a true story, man. Those COs respected us on a different level. They were all coming up to me and saying, hey, man, you guys tore it up. Good job. Like, you know, and it feels good because I got involved in this shit for glory. I was like, when I'm in prison, I just want to represent my people. I want to represent myself and be that bad.
So after that, you got the guards to start bringing stuff.
I already had guards bringing stuff.
Okay. Get into some detail, please.
So for example, I pulled up to Salinas Valley, and that's my backyard. And before I left Delano, I was settled with my childhood friend. And they called me randomly in the morning, hey, Gutierrez, back up. What the fuck? Where am I going? Salinas Valley. I was like, damn, it's my backyard. And I was already gone for 10 years. Mm-hmm. And I told myself, hey, watch, when I go back, I'm gonna blow up right there, watch. It's like, because he's my childhood friend. We all have friends that work in corrections. But me, like I said, I had a different life. I grew up in the hood, but I represented Southside sports. All the nice leagues, I played football, baseball with all the guys. I went to the parties and everything. I was a social guy. I wasn't thugging like that. I wasn't dressed up with a gun on my hip trying to be that guy. No, I'm from the neighborhood. I just look differently, but I will represent it if I have to. But like I said, I was more into the chicks, going to parties at the same time. If it goes down, I'm there, But when I went back, true story, as soon as I got off the bus, I got to R&R, and I seen my buddy's neighbor. He looked at me. I was like, damn. Because if you know someone there, they will kick you out of that prison. Mm-hmm. It's called overfamiliarity.
Right.
So as soon as I got off the bus, I seen him.
And he's a CO.
He's a CO in R&R. He seen me. And he said, what's up to me? I was like, man, the last time I talked to him, he was an asshole. And he's like, Corey's friend. I was like, yeah. And that's all I said. All right. I was like, man, here we go. I didn't say anything. Made it to my cell. And I remember I had a CO knock, a night watch, knock on my door, get up about 2 o'clock in the morning. And I couldn't see anybody. I thought I was tripping. And, hey, Louis. And it was a seal inside of my door. I was like, oh, dude, I know you. He's like, hey, I'm going on vacation. What do you need? I said, everything. Because I'll be back in 2 weeks. All right. And I just barely got there. I was probably there 5 days, maybe about a week. And man, pulled up, true to his word, opened up my tray slot, 2 cell phones in there. He's like, much love, fool. Walked off. And okay. And I didn't ask anybody yet. Mm. And then, all right, cool. I had a up celly too at that time, couldn't stand him. And I was like, I need to get this guy out of my cell. Because if that was that easy, I was gonna start getting at everybody that I knew. So as soon as I got there, I started making my rounds, going to medical, got escorted when I went to medical by one of my boys' sister. And she always liked me back in the day. A little groupie. She wasn't the prettiest, but you keep her around because, she's gonna flatter you somehow. Mm. But now she's a guard. So we're walking. She's like, oh my God, how you been? And I didn't remember her. And I was like, who are you? And I seen her text, oh, my brother. I was like, where's your brother? I just happened to say that. I was like, man, I know you from somewhere. And her brother was locked up too. Hey, my brother's in Corcoran. I was like, oh. And I remember who she was. So I was like, hey, what's up? Tell myself, what's up? Oh my God, let me get your number. I said, okay. And all right, got her number real quick. And like 2 days later, we're texting, doing all that, Yeah. And it's like, hey, bring me something. What do you want? I was like, no, I'm not going to be that guy to ask for drugs. I was like, man, bring me some food. I just want to see if it'll work. Mm-hmm. She brought me food. Okay. And then I met another SEAL. These are SEALs that I know as kids. Like childhood friends, people I played baseball with. I had a friend, her dad was a sergeant. And we're always cool with each other. Yeah. Private school girl. And somehow I got her number. Louis in Salinas Valley, and she hit me up. Oh my God, my dad's there. Do you want something? I'm like, are you serious? And she's like, yeah, my dad's pretty dirty. I was like, damn. And that time I had 2 cell phones. We're okay. Sure. What can you give me? What do you want? I was like, damn. I don't know if it's a setup, I'm always very cautious, even with females that I was trying to knock.
For sure.
Like, I don't want to be that guy. But you got to take a risk. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to say her name, but I was like, hey, tell her to bring me this. I was like, I'm going to do it once. So make it worth it. I was like, damn, all right, hold up. Let me switch that order. I got a buddy. Can you go pick this up? And at that time, we had a buddy at a cell phone store. So we got some phones, and I believe we got a pack of cigarettes. I was like, it was 2 phones and a case, and sure enough, dropped it off. And he's like, hey, kid, I remember we were talking to him, hey, kid, you be cool, bro. You be cool. My daughter said,
sergeant.
Sergeant. Holy shit. So, and I remember, I remember him as a kid.
Yeah.
But like I said, I didn't grow up being an asshole. I was never a dick to the girls, to the guys. I was just me. I played sports. I was well known. I was well liked. But, you know, I am from where I'm from. You know, shit happens in life.
And those cigarettes are money in the bank. A carton of cigarette?
Yeah, for a pack of cigarettes, we're selling one cigarette, I believe, $25 to $30 one.
Wow. And you had a whole carton.
Whole car, I was passing out to my man, go make $100 real quick. Yeah, easy.
Wow. So it's on from there, and now you have 4 cell phones.
No, at that time, me and my cellular were hooked up, and with that one, I shot to my buddy in 5 Block because he didn't have a phone. So I got you. I shot 2 of them to 5 Block. Both my boys. One was from the town. He said, hey, man, I need a phone. I was like, I got you. I just happened to cop 2 the next day.
Right.
Shot it to him, no money. And I had an extra. I was sending out to another building just like I said, what do I need all those phones for?
And what kind of phones?
At that time, my first phones were all flip phones.
Okay.
Remember the little flip?
Right.
And then I started moving up. I got a BlackBerry.
Wow.
And that piece of shit broke on me.
Yeah.
Like piece of shit. And then I had an iPhone.
You got the iPhone.
But you can't really do much with iPhones because, you know, the SIM cards at the time, you can't pull them out.
Right.
They're encased in metal. So I was like, I really don't like this phone. But I liked it. I liked the features, you know, watching videos and all that stuff was good. But
go watch The Connect with Johnny Mitchell. I'm sure some homeboys will be watching on their iPhones.
2010, I don't
right
think
now.
you were probably locked up still, right?
No, yeah. I was.
No, so I had the basic flip phones, but after that riot, that's when, you know, I was regular Spider and now I'm Super Spider.
Yeah. Now you're on.
I'm on. So when I came back, remember, I came back from the hospital when the SEALs were just waiting there like, hey, man, we're not worried about that PC. He was like, what are you talking about, bro? Pulled it out. I'm like, damn, my side looked at me. And we hobbled over to our building. And he's like, bro, you hear what he said? I was like, I know. Went to the hole. And even when we got to the hole, those SEALs were like, man, you guys are some bad. Because you got to understand, a lot of those SEALs are racist too. Prison will make you racist. And a lot of those SEALs that work in Salinas Valley, remember, they're all farm boys too.
Yeah.
A lot of them are from Tulare County, San Jose, Monterey County. You got a lot of whites. So, you know, we have a lot of whites and blacks. And like I said, I kept it cool with everybody. I'm not one of those that talk to COs. Like I said, when I had to, you know, get at a CO, it's with respect. Hey, excuse me. You know, but most of the time, they're talking to us after that right. Wow. Like, hey, you're that guy on that right. Yeah, I am.
So how did you grow from cell phones and cigarettes to...
I'll tell you how.
Yeah.
So I came back from the hole. They tried to isolate me in 4 Block. There was none of the homies were there. They brought me back from the hole after the riot, made me go back. And I came back, moved me to 4 Block, and no bullshit, within 1 hour, I had a phone. The Asians, hey, brother, it's for you.
Wow.
They're like, respect. Like, that's a $2,000 phone. He shot me a little basic, you know, flip phone. Like, man, no, this is all you, bro. You deserve it. You can have it. Like, much love, eh? He's like, we seen what you did. So that day on the yard, the Asians were there. And I was gone. The Asians were telling the story like, your homie got down. The SEALs were talking about it. SEALs were talking about it everywhere. Like, when I was in the hole, the SEALs would stop by like, hey, you guys are those Northerners? They're like, hey, badass, hey, much respect. Like, that's how, like, damn. And we don't say that often. And I was telling myself, bro, we're going to milk this shit. Right, watch. We're going to milk every SEAL that gives us a compliment. Every SEAL that stops by and swings on our, every SEAL that talks about the Northern Spartan riot, like, you guys handle business, milk it. So that's what I did. First day I came back, I got put on and told the CO, hey, man, give me back to 2 Block. Done. And I had my homeboy from the neighborhood in that building. That's why I wanted to go back. Mm-hmm. But I was able to get him a phone from another block already. I just pulled up. I was already on. Got him a phone real quick, and then I moved in with him a week later. And then I remember we're in the cell, and we're watching a commercial. And he goes, I bet you can't get that. Like, get what? It was a PlayStation. Like, what I want a PlayStation for? I don't know. See if you get it. Boom, had it in a week. Wow. After that, we got an iPad. We had a freaking computer. You know those big old chargers you have for a computer? We had it in the cell.
Are you guys using that? Are you renting that out? Or like, are you using it to make money?
Yeah, you can. I would do that with one of the phones.
Right.
You can let someone, like, at that time, cell phones were, I think people were paying like $100 to like rent it out for, I don't know, people are different. Some people charge 100 for a couple hours or all night.
Right.
At that time, I had no need for an extra cell phone. I would shoot my homies one so they could have it, communication.
Right.
But I didn't have 40 cell phones on my cell. I had the one I used.
Yeah.
I had another one, a backup with my neighbor, who, one of the brothers. Hey, man, with that phone. But when I need it. Like I said, I had one stash there, one stash there. I did pretty good.
And you can lease it out for a night.
I never leased anything out because I was on that we're on lockdown. I'm on lockdown all day. We're trying to make shit happen, talk to girls, talk to family, network, and we did it.
Right.
We were literally in the cell.
Are you talking to people in different prisons?
Oh, yeah.
Like other brothers?
Other brother, hey, what's up, man? Where you at? This communication, like I said.
Wow.
If you have so my my cellie came from Solano, I believe, and they're flooded with cell phones. The level 4 environments at the time were it's a lot harder to get contraband in there. Mm-hmm. It's a lot harder. So he was like, oh, I had all this over there, and I believe it. I said, no, ounces. I was like, damn.
Ounces of...
Oh, yeah, everybody knows ounces of...
Ounces of crystal?
Everything, yeah.
Holy shit.
That's how it works.
That's so much dope in prison.
No, but he had everything there. So when he got to Salinas Valley, it was just after the riot, and he was like, bro, I'm hearing your name everywhere. I was like, that's what's up. He's like, bro, you're shining right now. I was like, trip out, bro, watch. We're going to have it better right now. I just moved in with them, and right away, like, that building I went into, those SEALs were hella respectful towards me. Like, we hit it off. They're like, hey, man, you're a bad man. Like, hey, man, thanks. And I would start flexing my power because these guys live in my community. Mm-hmm. And I heard him talking one time, hey, I'm going to go to a concert. And I was like, was that right? And he was going to a concert where my buddy had a friend who was like the bartender. So I told him, hey, when you go to that concert tonight, ask for so-and-so. I'm like, why? Don't trip. I'm going to take care of you. And he was like, who the f*** are you? Like, as a joke, who are you? I was like, hey, just trust me. I told him, watch, bro, tell that chick to hook it up. Take care of him, because it's going to come back. So he went out that bar to the concert, VIP seating, bottle service. Yeah. It didn't cost us much. But when he came back to work a couple of days, he's like, bro, I remember what he says, like, who the f*** are you? He's like, bro, how did you do that? Don't trip, bro. And after that, he was as cool as us.
So how did you start getting the dope in?
Easy. Staff. There's so many different SEALs that will do it. Especially, I mean, I had buddies there that I grew up with. Played baseball with them. Played football with them. Spent the night at one of them's house, you know? And I would see them. They would, hey, what's up, Louis? Like, hey, bro. They would hit me up. Hey, what do you need? And they're like, don't ask for dope either. So, all right, cool. Bring a cell phone. You could sell that cell phone for $3,000. A regular flip phone at Walmart used to cost about $16 to $19 at the time. And that flip phone would sell for minimum $1,000.
Holy
minimum. And if you take it to the hole, you could probably get at least $2,500 at the time. Cell phones probably a lot more now. They're about $10,000 now. Wow. Yeah.
$10,000?
Oh, yeah.
So you could get one for $20 from your homeboy on the outside.
No, I would get them free. I wouldn't pay for like most. I never paid for one cell phone in my life.
Holy shit!
These are all like friends hooking me up.
And then you sell it, and are they using cash in California prisons?
So at that time, it was green dots.
Yeah.
It was Walmart. Like there's a you get a debit card and you load it.
Right.
So I would do that. All right, $1,000, send it to my cousin or whoever was my secretary at the time. Save that.
Holy
shit! Quick transaction.
And so your cousin or a family member on the outside was the one basically handling all the money that was coming through.
They didn't even know. I was like, here's the numbers to add to it. Don't ask questions. Wow. They never did.
Wow.
So I would send them a green dot, load it up. Never asked me anything.
Did you even mess with drugs? I mean, this is such a great hustle. You don't even need to bring in balloons.
Like I said, you bring drugs in prison, they're going to prosecute you. Mm-hmm. That I know. Mm-hmm. So all these guys that were, like I said, I'm not trying to knock anybody, but I didn't have to do that. Wow. I was, man, that first riot, I always tell people that first riot put me on the map.
Right.
Like, 1, I was in my backyard. 2, I just smacked 100 blacks on the yard. You think that's not going to be talked about? Yeah. Because I remember my friend's wife calling us up. She's like, hey, they're talking about you at the nail place. There was a female SEAL there. And she's like, oh my God, these Northerners got in a big old riot. And she's there. And they said my last name. And she texted them, oh my God, I think they're talking about Louis. And sure enough, he's like, they were talking about the riot. Wow. Females like that. They see, some violence, They're going to talk about it. SEALs are going to talk about everything they see at work. They're going to go have a barbecue with their buddies. Like, hey, man, I just seen this guy put shit on his face. I just seen Johnny staff 5 guys. Damn. They talk about it.
Yeah. So were you now running Salinas or just your block?
No, so
like, did you have, and I'm sure this got back to the TOs in Pelican Bay, right?
So at the time, like I said, the yard was being run by those that were in manager positions. And I was always assisting where I was needed.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, we were in a state of war from, man, like I said, all my years were war.
This was the 7-year war?
No, the 7-year war was already passed.
Okay,
This was a new war with the blacks now. Like, I've been in so many.
So after that riot where you got shot and you got all the stripes, now you're at war.
Still at war.
Okay.
So when I went to the hole, like, when you do some shit like that, what can your own people say? That is put down 100. Mm-hmm. And I would talk shit. Like, I would tell people, I put down more in one day than you will do in your whole entire prison career. Mm-hmm. And I'm a smuggler when I say it, because it's facts. Like, I'm not very liked by the weaker class because I don't cater to, like, weak men. I like, especially those guys with tattoos. I used to tell people that, dude, you got all these tattoos, bro. Why are you scared for? Like, you signed up for this shit. Don't be a little bitch now. Like, you're in prison. Act like a soldier. And I would tell people shit like that. And they would, oh, shut the fuck up. But I'm doing everything I'm saying.
So what about the more serious stuff, like dead bodies? You know, most people don't get killed when you stab them in prison, but, you know, it happens in California.
Yeah.
Did the NF, did you see them involved in assassinations?
During my tenure, that was normal.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Think about it. You could go back from 95 to 2015 and look at all the deaths from every group segment, whites, blacks, Southerners, whatever. Ultimately, what's happening is this house is being cleaned. It happens. It's a part of the struggle.
Right.
You know?
Was it usually you guys versus another race, or did you have to take care of your own sometimes?
Oh, both. So my first, man, let me see. So when you go to a different prison, there could be a different war going on there. It could be, I'm going to say at peace. Just because it's quiet in Salinas Valley doesn't mean it's quiet in Pelican Bay. You could enter a different environment, and there could be a different war. It could be with the blacks, Southerners, or whites, or your own people. And that's common. Like, when I was doing time, man, every prison I landed on was war. First couple years, white boys here, Southerners there, blacks there, Southerners there. That's how it happens. My only prison for the first time where I said I seen actual yard was Kern Valley. Get to, walk the track. Everybody's on lockdown except us. And then that changed quick. Mm-hmm. But like I said, all my entire time in prison was spent warring, lockdowns, modified program, and surviving the politics.
What kind of politics? What do you mean?
Prison politics.
Yeah.
Prison politics are the most brutal form of politics you could come across. If I didn't go to prison, I could have been the governor of California right now. Like, if I'm going to do something, I might as well get in politics. Those are dirty anyway. Mm-hmm. Those understand the backbiting, the conniving, cutthroat ways. I should take my skills and be a politician.
So there's crazy infighting amongst the NF.
I wouldn't say the NF because the NF was in the Bay doing their shit. Remember, I represent the Norteño movement. We are the vanguard for the NF. We were on every main line, pushing, advocating, protecting, and securing what they created for us. Like, your parents made a sacrifice, we're going to respect what they did. That's the same thing with our brothers who are older, who are the elders. Everything they did was for a purpose, and I always believed in that. I know I'm just a bean in the burrito, but man, this bean has some kick to it. I'm a different. And I always understood that you can't be anything without your brothers. You can't. A one-man army doesn't exist. Would you rather be one badass dude, or would you rather be a badass dude a part of a bigger purpose?
Okay, what happened? So now you're at Salinas running shit. What happens next? Where did
Another riot right after.
really?
So after that first riot, we got programmed for the first time. So when I was in the hole, they released the blacks out again and our homies. And the homies got smashed. Like, really? I just
We know you smashed 100 blacks.
No, I was mad because what the you guys doing? You guys trying to do a peace treaty, and we're over here. Mind you, I couldn't walk. My ass hurted.
Yeah.
Like, I was experiencing the symptoms of my sacrifice, and I was okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
And then what happened was they did a program type bullshit, and the blacks jumped on the homies. They got him, sliced up one of my homies. All right, cool. And in the back, I'm thinking, oh, I'm gonna go back and do it again. So I went back, and this time, they let us program for the first time. It wasn't long. So all the blacks were on lockdown. I believe the Southerners were on lockdown, and maybe the whites. So we had the yard with the Asians, and it was nice. Mm-hmm. So we're getting visits, going to no vocation to work. I got a job in the kitchen, and we're at peace for months because they're on lockdown. But as soon as I get a chance, when the blacks come off lockdown, we're gonna run it back. I know, come on. That's how it works. We don't give you your terms to acknowledge them, to accept them. We provide you with my terms. Like, if we're at war, war's not gonna end until I'm satisfied. Until we killed you, or until we have that event that pushes us to this level. Meaning, we had 10 battles. If we want 8 of them, we're okay with them. We want the upper hand. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So long story short, the blacks ran it back. Got the homies, weak. So I came back on the yard, and this time it was a little different. They released the blacks out. We knew they were gonna release them. Cool, we've been ready. I was already I could say I was advocating for war my whole time, because that's what I know. Like, if you're gonna disrespect us, we're gonna come back. Oh, we're coming back. So when the blacks came off lockdown, at that time in the riot, we went to yard, it was 21 of us. Wow, wow. And there was about 180 to 200 blacks. And my cellie that was with me in the first riot, he was gone already. He was on another yard. But I had brothers there that, they said, they were soldiers, So this is the time to prove it. So we went out, outnumbered, about 180 blacks, and we took off on the blacks. This time was different. I had some soldiers with me now. Mm-hmm. Not much, but the few we had, put it down. Out of 21 of us, we sent 11 to the hospital, 11 blacks, and they knocked out like two of our homies. Not to defend them, but these guys were not soldiers. This guy was like a Christian, which is cool, but he still showed up for battle. But that day, smacked them. This 21 of us.
This is why people in the feds, with all due respect, say somebody's just got to get killed, and then we don't have to have these ridiculous playground fistfights. When do you make that decision to say, okay, no, this has got to be a homicide? So the main dude has got to get dropped, as opposed to like us just
from the very beginning
going at it on the yard with chaos. You know what I mean?
Well, so is it organized chaos, or is it just chaos? If you think it's chaos from your lens, no, we see it as opportunity from our lens. Because we're the ones structuring this chaos.
Right.
We're the ones leading our men to battle on our terms. Like I said, just because it was 200 blacks didn't mean we're going to be scared or we were not going to go through with the plan. It doesn't matter. It could have been 1,000 blacks. It could have been 5 of us. But we knew what we had to do, and we did it. I'm not going to say everybody was on board. No one wants to fight in prison. No one wants to stab anybody because people want to go home. But those rules are not dictated to me. It's because the environment dictates the rules, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. the master lesson I received was from my environment. If you want to fight someone in prison, cool. You're going to fight a man with 1,000 years. You don't think he wants to stab you up? You think he wants to get beat up, sliced, stabbed? No, because he still has to live in that environment. Mm-hmm. So with that incident with the blacks, those terms were dictated long ago. You hurt one of us, we're coming back. Mm. It might be a year, might be 2 years. But we will come back and get ours. And that's what we did. It was about 7 months went by, enjoying program. I didn't give a about program. I wanted more blood. That was my mentality. That was my goal. I was dead set always on protecting, promoting, and advancing my people. Mm. Always. Mm. And like I said, that second riot was chaos, but it was organized chaos. You know, from what you see in the paperwork from the gun tower, like I said, it is chaos. But we had 4 guys over here putting down 2. We had 6 guys over here putting down 8 with knives. Wow. So that's your chaos.
Did you have a knife?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, in the paperwork I sent you.
Stab somebody?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Wow. You got to.
You have the big one or just the...
A nice one. It worked. Send someone to the hospital.
Wow.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Like I said, that time, I believe it was, I want to say 15, but 11 for sure went to the hospital. Wow. 11 for sure, maybe 15. I have to look at the paperwork, but I believe it was 15 total. 2 of them were ours, you know?
Yeah.
But they got knocked out. They didn't get stabbed or anything.
Right.
I mean, who gets knocked out? Everybody in a riot.
Damn. So in the aftermath of that, I assume everybody went to the hole. Did you get written up for having a knife?
No. Remember, they got to catch you with... Remember, CO Johnny has to spot you in the act and the commission of a felony.
Right.
If he and most of the time, mind you, those COs on that yard showed me hella respect.
Yeah, half of them were bringing you cell phones in and food and cigarettes.
I'm not even even after that, right? People were I met a CO. I remember when I was engaging, I seen him at a restaurant, and I was already home. And I remember that day I came from a funeral, so I was dressed up. And, hey, what's up, Gutierrez? What's up, man? Shook my hand, bought me a drink. And he was like, hey, man, we still talk about you in that environment. Wow. Yeah. And you could ask my wife. I've been at places where the gang coordinators are at a bar. And walk in, I'm very observant. I was like, oh, shit, there's 4 COs over here. Oh, my wife, she don't know, she don't care. Sit down. They're looking at me. I'm not tripping. I'm a free man. And a bartender, hey, man, here you go. 2 beers. Who's this from? Turn around. And they come up to me, shake my hand, and, hey, man, how you doing? Wow. This, I had it like that. Like I said, I was never a coward. Never depended on the cops to save me. I was myself.
So when did you finally leave Salinas? When did they say, okay, we got to ship this guy out?
So after that second riot, they sent me to the hole, and they sent me to a new yard. It was D yard, the other yard on the other side. And at that time, they validated me as a prison gang member. And it was around 2014, I believe. Validated me. Got me on some shit for this gang stuff. To get validated in prison, you gotta have tattoos. You gotta get caught with paperwork. Someone snitches on you. Even your crime is a point for validation. Mm. If I did a crime and the CO said that you did it for the benefit of your prison gang, they give you a point. My shit was, I can say proudly, when I got validated, most people in prison of my cloth, they only last 2 years and they get validated. 3 years at most. Mm. I lasted on the main lines almost 15 years.
Wow.
Not just...
It's unheard of.
Not just, being a religious fanatic, praying and staying out the way. No, I was a hunter.
How many riots do you think you were in? Fights, riots in the, 15 years you were on the main line?
I could tell you that I put hands on. I put a knife in battle against over 200. You have my paperwork.
I know.
First riot was over 100 blacks. All those are my victims. You guys had 100 in my paperwork. I'm counting that. Everyone that had a scrape, a little abrasion, a slice, those are my victims. So that was the first riot. I think it was over 100. And you've seen the pictures of
100 riots.
No, not 100 riots. And that riot alone was
How
100.
many riots were you in?
1, 2, 3, 4 riots. Yeah.
Were you ever worried that somebody you stab, you might accidentally kill him?
No.
You just didn't think?
You don't think. It's start the car up. You're gonna hope you're gonna get it to drive and drive off.
Right.
Like I
Because
knew.
if you think, you won't react.
So my thing was, you start thinking, that's when you become weak.
Right.
Like the day before the riot, the first one, I called my best friend. I said, "Hey, Fabian, you're probably not gonna hear from me for a little while, right?" And he was like, "Well, what's up, my boy?" I was like, "Look, I'm gonna go handle some business. If you don't hear from me 1 or 2 days, no, I'm okay." And he's like, "Let me pray for you." I said, no, don't pray for me. Pray for them, Fabian. Just pray for them that they get out of my way. And, and if you don't hear from me, I die with glory, bro. Like real shit. And, okay. And I would disappear after the riot, it happens.
Yeah.
And then he was connected. He would check in with his buddies, say, "How's my buddy?" He's all right. All right, cool. But I remember, I didn't call my mom, "Hey, Mom, about to get down tomorrow." I didn't have a wife. I didn't have kids. So my main objective was going to that yard and tearing shit up. And I'm not saying it cavalier, but I am saying it with the perspective of my mindset at that time.
Yeah.
Like I entered a system of war, of chaos, of anarchy, political sabotage. Everything is in that environment.
Do you think the NF, the Northerners, are the most willing to use violence, or is that the Southerners, or is it the whites?
I say so. From my estimation, I say 3 with respect. And in my estimation, the 3 prison superpowers are the Southern faction, the Northerners, and whites. And I would put the others before the blacks.
And the whites, who when in the level
Whites are
4s,
some bad in California.
of course. Now, are most of these guys under the umbrella of the AB, or
Of
are they
course,
just
there's, like I said, you own CBS, whatever company, there's always a parent company.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it is with us. Just because the whites don't have the brand on the yard, just because we don't have, Theo on the yard, goes for the same as Southerners. Those guys are doing everything still the same if they were on the yard or not.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, what we did is what the whites do and is what the Southerners do. But in respect to violence, the whites are with it. Like,
did you ever have to go to war with them?
Yeah, 7-year war with whites.
Oh yeah, talk about that, because we did kind of passed over that.
So
your first years in
year,
prison, your first 10 years.
Third day on the yard, kicked off with the whites. They disrespected us.
Sorry, what facility is this?
Salinas Valley. Salinas Valley
Okay,
CR.
it's still Salinas.
November 2000. Oh, no, my bad. November, December 2000. That's when the riot kicked off. Because I remember I stabbed my cellie after that. So went to that riot. 2 homies. So my homie took the knife away from the white guy and used it on him.
Oh, shit.
And that's the guy that got stabbed, I believe, 30-something times. And even after that fact, when he went to the hospital and came back, because he came as a hole later, that guy was like, "Hey, man, you're a boy. Respect." And I was like, damn.
Even after he got stabbed 30 times.
He got blasted on. So
with his own knife.
With his own knife.
And he had to be like, "Hey, respect. He got me."
Yeah, but like I said, that was that riot. That was my first introduction to organized chaos.
Yeah.
But man, I'm glad everything happened. The Mini 14 going off was a reminder that, holy shit, I'm in prison.
Yeah.
Like, Mom's not here to protect you. It's not going to happen. It's just you and the weapons that you have. Mm-hmm. You could either use your mind in prison, or you could use your body, or you could do both. Me, in the first years, it was, let's go to war.
You stabbed your cellie. Was that the first time you ever touched somebody with a knife?
I never used a knife on the streets.
Right.
Ever. I fought many people. I was a gunslinger. Coming from Salinas, you're going to use...
Yeah, of course. I meant in prison when you stabbed your cellie.
That was my first time I stabbed anybody with a prison manufactured weapon.
Tell us, why'd you stab him? What happened over that?
So it was January 2001. This guy pulled up, and he was already done. They already knew who he was. And mind you, I remember my boy that was there. He's like, hey, man, there's a guy that just pulled up. If he pulls up, he's all bad. That's all right. And by chance, he pulls up to my cell. And I don't have a cellie because, remember, my cellie just left in the riot. Right. My cellie got busted in the riot.
Right, okay.
And so I'm chilling for a couple of days, and this guy pulls up.
And what does that mean, all bad?
He's all bad. He's not good. He can't be here.
His paperwork.
Paperwork, charges, whatever it is. It's all bad.
And why would they let him with bad paperwork? Why would they let him slip through and be on mainline?
So he was going home. He was coming from Corcoran, and he only had like 3 weeks to the house, maybe a month. So he thought he was just going to slide by and get out. And this is what happened. As soon as he pulled up, my boy was like, from San Jose, like, hey, man, this guy's going to have to go. So make sure, you know, you got to do what you got to do to keep him comfortable, because they wanted someone else to do it. Like I said, I already pulled up to that yard. I was not even a year in prison yet. And I was getting visits every weekend. I was from Salinas. I was getting visits Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Female on Friday, maybe a cousin on Thursday, a different chick on Saturday, whoever, family, friends. Like I said, I was doing everything I was supposed to be doing as a young soldier. So I was liked by the upper management. And even when that happened, he's like, hey, brother, we're going to let someone else do it on the tier. I was like, fuck, that's dangerous. Like, I said, I'll do it. No. He's like, just kick back. I was like, no, I'm living with this guy. Like, you just told me he has to go, and that just changes the whole dynamics. Right. Like, I'm living with trash. I can't do it. They're like, bro, 3 days. Just live with them for 3 days is like eternity. And mind you, I didn't have to do it. I don't regret it. And I remember getting everything ready to go to the hole because I knew what I was going to do. So I had canteen, package, I just, all that. I started giving my food away. I started giving everything away. And we were the only manpower in that section. So we had to wait to 2 other people to come in downstairs not to lose that pot. So as soon as they came in, it was like on a Monday, Tuesday. Old boy was like, you got it? I was like, yeah, I'm probably going to hit him. And they want to know the details. They wanted me to hit him on the tier. I was like, hell no, they're going to shoot me, bro. Like,
they shoot you on the tier inside of the building?
So on a 180.
How does that work?
Yeah, so
explain this.
Gun tower in a 180 design, it's like a half circle.
Right.
A 180 design is broken into 3 pods. You have A pod, B pod, and C pod. Usually it's 1 through cell 10 to 20 in B pod, and 20 to 32 in C pod. There's always one bigger pod.
Right. Okay, but then it's outdoors?
No, indoors.
So how can the gun tower...
There's a gun tower right there.
Inside of the building?
You open the window up and give you...
Wow.
That
give you some lead.
Yeah, I mean, it happens. So one thing I knew, I didn't want to get shot in prison.
Right.
He's like, I'll stab him, but on my terms. And I told, because I remember I had a visit with him. He's like, what are you going to do? And he was telling me how to set it up. I was like, no, if I do it, I want to do it my way. He's like, how you want to do it? In the cell. He's like, and remember, ask anybody, any prison expert. I heard someone on the podcast say this. The hardest thing for someone to do in prison is stab their cellie. Because 1, you're going to get caught. 1, you get caught, the DA's picking up. 3, what about that guy overpowers you? What about if you become the victim? Right. And mind you, the guy that pulled up to my cell, he was a healthy.
Yeah.
He was about 220, prison solid, healthy.
Norteño?
Yeah, Norteño. He was one of us. And first couple of days, making him feel comfortable. And he was telling stories about, man, I remember knocking this out. I was like, I wasn't scared. I was like, we're going to battle in here. Little does he know who I am,
And did you like him as a person?
I couldn't like him because right away I knew who he was, what they told me about him.
Right.
And this is what got to me. I was using the restroom, and I grabbed his paperwork. They pass out paperwork to mail. So I grabbed his paperwork, and I had a current. I started reading his thing. I was like, man, you sick.
He
had some charges on it, but he also had a charge with a female. He lied about it. He tried to say he was 17, like 25. Like,
so he had a jacket. He had a skin.
He had a lot of shit on his jacket. He had a lot of shit on his jacket in prison and on the streets.
Okay.
Why they didn't check it in his county jail? Goes to show that county jails where he was from are different. If you go to Monterey County, San Jose, Santa Clara, TC, they run a very tight, organized, structured jail. Other jails, not so much.
I see. So he slipped through the cracks.
He slipped through the cracks somewhere along the line, cool. And he also slipped through the cracks. And he was in a riot. And basically what he did, he told. I was like, I read it, I seen it. I was like, that wasn't the main thing of it. It was his charges and other shit he did.
Right. But that ends up on your paperwork if you tell in prison?
So in prison.
How does that get to your paperwork?
So one of the paperworks you have in mind, they'll ask you any comment. And you say, no, he made a comment. And it was not the best comment. He pretty much gave up information they already have, but you shouldn't be saying these things.
Right.
So what he did, he fucked up on his own. But that wasn't the main purpose. He had a bunch of shit on him.
Okay.
So when it came time to get him, remember, I just got my packages. I was doing okay. And
how are you feeling? Are you scared?
Wasn't scared. I was nervous though.
Okay.
Like this is new territory for me.
Yeah.
So I remember.
How'd you get the knife?
So when I started getting rid of all my shit, the homies like, pick up the knife when you're ready. Because technically they wanted me to do it on Monday. Because they thought I was gonna wait for go to visit Saturday and Sunday. I was like, man, I can't wait. It was already like eating me up. Wow. I already lived with them for a couple of days, but it was already too much. So I remember I'm getting ready, getting all my paperwork, shit ready, what I could take to the hole, what I could give away. I remember giving all my bags of canteen. And I remember telling
Does
my
he notice that at all?
He's an idiot. So what happened was I had tobacco and he used to draw and he walked in and he was cool and I didn't know who he was. He was regular and right away though, within a couple hours I knew who he was. Like this guy, it's like, it's all good. So I showed him the most respect I could give him for someone like him. Made him feel comfortable, right. Fed him, doing my thing and he noticed it. So I told my neighbor I shot him a kite. He was from Oakland. I remember, cool cat. I said, hey, I'm gonna shoot you some stuff. Get on the vent and be like, hey, Spider, you got that $50? You got that 40? Whatever. Just go along with it. He's okay. On the vent. Hey, Spider, hey, what's up? Hey, man, you got that $50? Oh, yeah, I'll get it ready. Mind you, I'm getting a bag ready. And he's like, oh, what happened? You lost the gamble? I was like, no, the homeboy's birthday's coming up. We're gonna throw a big old spread. He's like, oh, that's what's up. And one thing he told me, I felt bad later, is like, hey, man, you're hella generous. He told me that. Yeah. Because I was just giving away everything.
I'm going to show you how generous I am.
Dude, so in my head,
I'm going to give you 5 extra stabs.
No, so I was getting all my stuff ready. And mind you, it was birthday like Tuesday, Wednesday. And I couldn't wait till Monday. The only thing I regret in prison is this moment. I could have waited because my grandma was just approved to visit me. And she was supposed to come that weekend. I was just like, I can't. Like I had to do it. I did it Friday morning. I could have waited Saturday, but I didn't. So long story short, I started giving away my stuff. And he was an artist. So, hey man, do me a favor. Do a card for the homie's birthday. Oh yeah. Because we're gonna have a big old spread. And I said, but you can't smoke in my cell because he wanted to smoke. So it was like, when we go to shower, bro, I'll give you 10 cigarettes. Smoke all you want in the shower. Just don't bring that. I got respiratory asthma. Oh, okay, cool. I just don't want that smell on my cell. I was making him comfortable. We're getting tobacco. I let him eat fat for 3 days. I was like, damn, I'll peel this fool's cat back watch. And then the day of it, the Thursday night, I told the homie, tomorrow, just let me the piece. I was like, and whatever they told me, hey man, be safe,
What kind of steel was it?
So at that time it was, they fastened a plastic knife with a boot nail.
What?
A boot.
Okay.
So in prison, CDC boots, they got nails where they tack them into the rubber. So they pull those out, sharpen them, and they put them into a plastic piece. You could put 2 nails, 3 nails, 4 nails. So they shot me a piece.
So it's literally nails you're stabbing them with.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
It was a plastic piece with boot nails.
Okay.
And I remember, all right, it is what it is.
And you're coming back from wherever?
No,
and you pass by
I
the
was in the
homie's
shower.
cell? Okay.
I was, we're on lockdown. Remember, we're on lockdown for the riot still.
Right.
So I'm running the tier during shower time, getting all this food situated. And the homies are downstairs. And, they know what's going on.
Yeah.
They're like, you know, hey man, you gonna wait till Monday? Nah, I'm gonna get him tomorrow. Like, they're like, hey man, good luck.
So they slide it to you.
So they already shot it to me from Peapod.
Got it.
And they shot it to me, and I went downstairs. I told them, hey, tomorrow morning I'm gonna blast them. I was like, I'm gonna send you some food later, whatever I had left. So I remember going back to the cell and like, man, longest prison day of my life. I didn't sleep when, you know, I'm writing little notes, you know, to take to the hole, like addresses, phone numbers, messages. My celly's snoring. He's a snorer. And he's that type of guy that sleeps with a towel on his face. And I was like, man, what's this guy doing? But I remember like that whole night, I'm up, walking, slow, pacing. He's out. I was like, this fool doesn't have no idea that I'm about to light his ass up. And wasn't scared, but I had a strategy. I said, if I do it in the cell, I'm gonna get caught, obviously. But the homie's like, dude, you gotta flush that weapon. All right. So in CDC, they got a night watch. They come around every couple hours to do count. They come around, I believe, 10 o'clock, and they leave at 6 in the morning. So that whole night, I'm up. I'm just like, TV's low. I'm just like, plus I got ADD or something, you know? I'm just pacing to myself. He's asleep. He's out. I was like, he has no idea what's going on. So 3 o'clock, I'm watching like some reruns on the TV, just taking a deep breath, pacing, just, you know, trying to get centered, you know? And then about 4:45, the flashlight, CEO walks by, goes to cell 202, 201, and he exits the building, door shuts. I get up and watch the tower, opens the door, and the guy's like, all right, bye, whatever they say. And now it's, you know, not scared, but maybe nervous. I mean, if a man's gonna say he did a drive-by shooting and he wasn't scared, come on, there's something going on in your body. Sure. Emotions, whatever it was. I was feeling something, but more importantly, I was feeling like, I need to do this now. Like, you're done, homie. So he's on the top bunk. And I remember I tried to wake him up the first time. He did not. I was like, holy man, bro, you're messing this up for me. You're getting me nervous now. So I remember, it's like, dude, he's snoring.
Would you wake up? I got to stab you.
Yeah, I try to be respectful. Like, I don't want to stab him when he's sleeping. That's like, you know, some bitch shit, you know? And he has his towel on his face. My bad. Oh, my bad. He has a towel on his face. I was like, man, did I just stab him in his face? I thought about that right there. Like, but he's protected by his towel. So I wake up and he's getting up slow. Ugh, like, he makes a big old grunt and it's pitch dark in the cell. The back window's covered up and I covered the front windows. I covered the one by the restroom and I put the curtain up. I want Steels to look in your cell. You got 3 windows. Right. From his vantage point, he has a good view. Especially my cell. I was in 203, perfect. So I'm getting him up, get up. And he's taking forever. I was like, dude, are you serious, bro? Like you need to get stabbed up already. Hurry up, bro, wake up. And he's like, oh, he's getting up slow. I was like, bro, it's program time. He's like, what? And mind you, it was barely 4:50. About that, I remember. It's the longest hour of my life. So I wake him up, I was like, he's taking forever. So I stand on the, there's a locker, oh, not a locker, my bad. There's a bench where you're a desk and a stool. I stand on the stool and I have my piece like this. I'm just waiting for him to pull his towel down and he's taking forever. I'm like, man, and it's about 2 or 3 minutes, maybe longer. He's getting up, pitch dark. Like, you piece of shit, hurry up and wake up. And finally he's like, oh, you know, doing his stretch. And as soon as he's moving that towel, I just said, boom. I caught him in the chest, boom. And he screams like, you know, he's startled. Yeah. But he gets out this roar. Ah! I'm like, it scares me a little bit. Like, shut the fuck up, fool, I'm trying to stab you. And then he's like, what the And I just started, whoa, boom. I started going at it. And he's, you know, now he's trying to block it in. And I just started, whoa. I'm going crazy now. Now it's on, motherfucker. I'm trying to take you out. So play by the rules, you know? Yeah. You can fight back or we could, you know, or not. And I thought he was going to fight back. His whole stories were knocking people out. I seen his paperwork. This guy was, at one time, you know, did his shit. He was no punk. But hey, I had to do it. Woke him up. As soon as he moved that towel, I caught him. Boom. Started stabbing him. Neck, face, head, eye. Wow. And then he's blocking, and I'm catching him in the arm. Yeah. And I remember just going for like the killer shot, hit him in the head, and the knife breaks. The knife breaks in half, and you know when plastic cracks, I'm holding the handle, and I said, what the, holy crap, this is not cool. And he's
did the knife penetrate him?
Yeah.
Like, is it sharp enough to go?
Oh, yeah, it pierced him. Yeah, it didn't pierce his head because, obviously the cranium's a little harder than the flesh. But I remember, I was just trying to stab him everywhere.
Yeah.
Got eye, ear, whatever. But I remember somehow I got him in the head and the knife just cracked. So, and I heard it. I was like, damn it. So I can't stab him with this piece of plastic. So now it's on. I threw that little piece on the floor and I started bombing on him. So he's like still protecting, kicking. And I couldn't really, at an advantage point, I couldn't do much. I'm on a stool. He's at an elevated position. I'm just throwing, some body shots. So hell no. I grab him by his feet and it's off the bunk and he hits the floor. Boom! Knocks out. He knocks out for about 20 seconds. He's out. I grab the piece and I flush it. I'm looking for the tip. I turn the light on real quick. I had to do it. I turn the light on. He's like, what the going on? I found it. I flushed it. Now he's trying to go under the bunk. I pull him back out. I just start giving it to him. I'm talking about at least 40 minutes, resting, water, 2 Snickers break. My arms were swollen meats, They couldn't put the cuffs on me. So I would rack him up, beat him down for 5 minutes there. He was always trying to go under the bunk. And he was like, you're trying to talk about it still. What the did I do? I was like, you know what you did. So mind you, it's 5:50. SEALs are coming to work now because they start shift change at 6. And I'm drenched. There's blood everywhere now. Like he's leaking everywhere. I'm like, and I don't like blood, who does? And I'm like, oh, this is, I can smell the blood. Does that make sense? I can smell like wet, hot iron.
That's right.
And I'm familiar with it, but it's overwhelming. That time I'm like, man. So I started giving the business again. I'm talking about multiple rounds. I paused, drink some water. At one time, I even ate a Snickers bar. I thought, I'm gonna eat a Snickers. He's under the bunk hiding. Go back out. I would pull him back out. Leg shots, side shots, whatever I get. And then he's screaming now. About 5:50, he starts screaming. So I'm trying to drag him out, start stomping on him. And I pull him out. Oh, that's why I told him, all right, come on. It's all good. I'll let you get out. I told him, I was like, let me get out. Come on, get out. He gets up, knock him out. Drop him again, and this time, his head's bleeding. There's blood everywhere. And I'm like saturated with wet blood. And he's screaming. Finally, shift chains come. SEALs, the tower's like, hey, man, something's going on. So the SEAL comes to the door. Like, oh.
You took the
No, I'm still blocked on my window side. I have a curtain.
Okay.
But this time the curtain already ripped down because we're fighting.
Right.
Well, whatever happens. But we're going at it. And he's screaming, making noise. He's hitting the floor, anything to get attention. Yeah. I'm like, what a bitch, Like, come on, let's go at it. So he's making a bunch of noise. And finally, the oncoming SEAL comes to our door, but he doesn't have his mace or anything yet because he just walked in the building. And the tower's like, hey, man, you go check whatever. He goes, oh, shit. He takes off to go get his spray, to get whatever they got to get. And I'm like, I start banging out again. And finally, they come.
They hit you with the pepper spray?
No. That time, I'm done.
Yeah.
Like.
Gassed.
Adrenaline's, getting me through. But Gutierrez prone out. I didn't prone out. I Inmate Morales. My bad. Shouldn't even say his name, but they take him out. He crawls out and I remember he's crawling out. He sips on the blood. That's how bloody he was. I gave him a kick, get the out of here. They cuff him up, take him out, and they close the door. And the best thing I did was while I was waiting, they gave me a couple minutes because 2 SEALs took him. And remember, it's early in the morning. The shift hasn't even started yet. So they left for a couple minutes. I take off my clothes. I flush them in the toilet. I grab a towel, and I'm just trying to clean as much as I can. It's blood everywhere. I couldn't get, the top bunk, but I disgusting, bro. I grab the towel, I'm like, in the toilet. I'm trying to clean up as much as I can. Crime scene. So I do that. Hey, Gutierrez, they come up. I flush my boxers. That's all I had on, boxers and some shoes. No boots. I changed my socks, fresh pair of boxers, but I still had residue blood here and there. And they take me out. And they take me up front to the program office. And like I said, everything works out in my favor that day. So when they started program that day for that building, my neighbor was a Southerner. He was a porter. And they left my door open. And what he did, when you're a porter, you pass out trays and you're with the mop and all that.
That's right. You got the mop.
So I'm in the back hours waiting. This is about 11 o'clock. Remember, I did this at 4:45 is when we started. They pulled me out of the cell about 6:15. It's an hour of combat.
Combat's a way to put it.
So when I go to the program office, they start running packages, modified program. Mm-hmm. My neighbor comes, hey, I got you. Took care of that. And I didn't know what he meant. What do you mean, took care of that? I didn't get it, whatever. And I didn't get it. Long story short, I'm still waiting. And I remember a squad comes to me, the investigators, hey, what happened? Nothing happened. What are you talking about? And then another guy comes in. He's like confused. He's like, hey, you're the one that in cell 203? He's like, yeah. And I remember him yelling at another officer, who cleaned that cell? I'm like, who cleaned that cell? I'm like, no. It's like, we haven't did a crime inventory yet. When something happens in prison, they have a whole prison CSI. Protocol. They take pictures and all that. So what happened was my neighbor came out. He's a porter. He had a mop bucket and broom and all that. And what he did, he hit my cell with the bucket. Swept up all the red blood. Wow. Drained it right there. Wow. And did as much as he could to help me out. And I didn't know that until months later, he came to the hole. He's like, hey, how did that work out for you? I was like, bro. He's like, hey, I cleaned your cell for you. I was like,
so they shot you to the hole.
Shot me to the hole.
And it never got referred to the DA, or they didn't pick it up.
So they didn't pick it up for a few reasons. One, they had no weapon. Flushed it. Mm-hmm. Two, the crime scene was tampered with.
Right.
I cleaned as much blood as I could, but like I said, you don't have time. I changed. I was clean. Like even in my mugshot prison pictures, no marks, no blood. I was all wet, Yeah. But the thing that I think really helped me was that Southerner getting that mop and literally cleaning up the crime scene.
Right.
And when he pulled up to the hole, oh man, I was like, I got you.
Wow.
Like, what you need,
Wow.
So like I said, that worked out in my favor.
So how long? Oh my God, that's intense. So I mean, after that, the management is loving you.
My people?
Yeah.
So when that happened, remember, we're at war with the whites still. Mm-hmm. They kicked me out to a PC hole, not knowing what happened. Because this guy's going home in 3 weeks, and who knows what he's saying. But I remember he came back from the hospital, and I'm in the cell next to the shower, and the SEAL's like, hey, your buddy's back. And I was like, I ain't got no buddies here. It's all trash in here. They don't know what's going on. They don't know if he's bad or if I'm bad. Mm-hmm. So I'm chilling in the PC hole for months. Like, it's horrible there. Bulldogs, PCs, all that. Well, that guy, he comes back from the hospital a couple days later, and the SEAL goes, hey, your buddy wants to talk to you. I was like, I got no buddies there. And it's him. He's coming from medical. He has a cast on, a sling. He's bandaged neck, head, everywhere head. I was like, okay, cool. I did that. He comes to my cell, hey, what happened? I was like, look, man, I'm going to do you a favor. You're a piece of shit. That's what it is. And I read him his sister's address. I read him his mom's address, and I read him his paperwork address that he had when he got arrested. So how do you want to do this? You can say whatever you want, but I promise you this, my people will avenge me if you want to go tell. And I read him his mom's address, his sister's address, because when he was my cellie, he got a letter. So when I grabbed it, I wrote the address down. Just, you want to play dirty? I'm going to play dirty too. And sure enough, I read him his sister's address. He's all, I just want to go home. I said, go home then.
Wow. So he never told?
Never told. In his credit, I'll give him that,
Yeah.
I'll give him that.
Yeah.
But I did threaten him. I did have his mom, sister, and one more address. And I told him how you want to do it.
Wow. How long were you in the hole for after that?
That time I did a little over 2 years total.
In the hole?
Hole in the shoe. So
what is the difference between the hole and the shoe?
So the hole is basically the jail within the jail.
Right.
The shoe is security housing unit.
Right.
You only go there if you're a threat to institution, meaning you're a gang member, shot caller type shit, or you stab someone, or you stab staff, or you do something violent. Because everything is based on a system of terms. You stab someone, you're going to get 2 years, 3 years, or 5 years. That was my first one, so you're supposed to be given 2 years, and then you get the midterm and shit like that, unless you get a write-up. So I was in the PC hole for a couple months, and then I finally went to the attic where all the brothers were at. Got there, embraced me, like, what's up? Where you been at? Man, I got a story to tell. They didn't even trip. They were waiting for me. They knew I was good. You know, gave me my acknowledgement. Because there's a system of checks and balances in prison. You could be everything you say you are, but if you don't have the resume to back it up, sit down. You know? And I knew I arrived because, one, I did this in the cell. Every person I blasted in prison, I never need another help me. Usually, you know, when shit goes down in politics, when they got to take you off the yard, it's like 3 on you. 3 knives on you, you're getting poked from everywhere. I gunned him down in the cell, and that was my very first introduction to, you know, gang violence.
Yeah.
And I know I did it in the most, I guess,
flagrant way.
Flagrant or
possible.
most powerful way to make a statement. I did it in cell.
Yeah.
I risked my freedom. I could have got hurt. So many factors. I did it. Felt good after it. Never felt bad for him.
Do you ever remember, were there any other times where you had to take out somebody with a knife that's like memorable? Where you're like, man, he really deserved it. Not on the yard, like in isolation. So one thing I can say about me, so after you commit cell violence, you don't get a cellie. Right. Because they call it a violent predator. And they'll keep you on a program for 4 years, and you got to act like me. I don't want a cellie. Why would I want a cellie for? I'm living cool, comfortable. I'm not smelling another man's body odor. I'm not hearing another man stress off his lady, his kids, or the letter he didn't get, or something. So I lived in my cell by myself, comfortable for years. And I enjoyed it. Everybody's like, man, how'd you get single cell status? Go stab your cellie. Yeah. That's how you do it. They're like, oh, this guy's crazy. Yeah. But it worked out for me in so many ways because knowing the way I am, like I would have bumped heads with most of my cellies only because a lot of these guys don't have standards. Like me, I knew what I had to do to make it back home if that was an option. And my only goal was to make it back home to my mother with mind and body intact. And like I said in the story, I told my mom, I'm always going to be, always going to be the suspect. Do you know what that means? And she had tears in her eyes. And my pops is right there. My pops is a very humble man. And I told my pops right there, hey, Pops, I want to thank you. Because you taught me a skill set that's going to save my life in there. You know, my father is an Olympic boxing coach. He's trained many pro athletes on the big stage. And he's a humble guy, you know? And I told him, hey, Pops, I'm going to be okay because of you. It's like, I might have not, you know, took heed to the lessons you gave me, but that skill set that you helped me develop, I'm going to be all right. And he didn't want to hear that. But at the same time, as a man, and he calls me Gallito, Gallo. Yeah, a little
fighter.
rooster, yeah.
And they always called me that since I was a kid. I always grew up fighting. Remember, I got older brothers, older cousins. I was always fighting with them. I would go to the gym and box and everything, do all this. I was always fighting. And I told Pops, hey, your Gallito's going to be okay. And I know he wanted to cry. And I was like, don't do it. Because if you do it, you're going to make me cry. And he's always giving me that respect, and he held it in.
And ironically, you actually got some good time.
Never got good time.
Well, you got out. I mean, you did how long total?
I did almost 18 years. So what
okay,
happened
so you
was,
did the whole.
Almost.
Yeah, tell us how you got out.
So so when you do an A1A offense, you're maxed out after that.
Okay,
that's the fact.
So you figured you're just going day for day.
I went day for day. The first after January 11th, that's when I stabbed myself. On January 11th, I was all in. So after that, when you have an EPRD, it's like early possible release date. They bumped it up to the full max, minus like 2 months. So I was like, oh, that's 2 months. And then sometimes you could get it back, but you got to be clean for 1 year. You know how hard that is in prison? Yeah. So I would lose. The remaining good time I had was like 6 months. Come on, I could play with 6 months. But in my mindset, I said, if I have to do every day in this bitch and go home normal, I'll do it. But during 2015, the law started changing. They started giving inmates milestone credits for programming on, like, not programming per se, but doing education, computer classes, signing up for rehab shit. I was like, bro, that's not for me. But I will do that class to get out a month earlier. So when I got to the Bay, that was the only time I had a shot like in a classroom setting. Mm-hmm. At that time, everybody was, not at war. They weren't at peace, but they weren't warring no more. All the guys started coming out from the SHU in 2015, 16, and they were on the yard with us. I left Pelican Bay SHU with like 2 top dogs,
Wow.
2 of us made it to the main line, and 3 made it to the whole. They were facing like another charge.
Yeah.
But like I said, I was there when prison was prison. I wasn't there with the changing times now, and I'm glad I'm not, because I was already itching to leave that environment. Mm-hmm. I was like, man, I might be going home in 2 months. That's the hardest 2 months of your life.
The longest 2 months, yeah.
I was only on the line for maybe 7 months. It was kickback, for me. Drama here and there, not for me. But man, I was just thinking already. I could smell the food I wanted to eat. I could taste the dreams I've been having. But I was always worried about one thing. I was like, man, I bet you I'm going to parole and there's going to be someone at the gate to take me right back. I always thought that. Because remember, I got validated for something, and they could have hit me with that charge.
What'd you get validated for?
One of them was attempted murder on someone. So they could have easily...
What happened there?
Politics. What happened was someone got too big for, the program. And they thought they became, a John Gotti type.
This is someone within the NF?
Yeah, no, someone within my prison.
Okay.
And, we're all Norteños on this yard.
Right.
But some of us want to be the biggest and brightest Norteño there and call shots. That's cool, bro. Do what you got to do. But don't think for a moment you're going to get me out of the way so you can feel safe. So what happened was someone tried to plot on me. It's all facts. And, I kicked back for a second. And I didn't play chess with these guys. Chess is a game. I became the chessboard. I utilized all my pieces as weapons. I strategized accordingly. I acted in the manner that I was taught. I was professional. But at the same time, I'll be damned if this little punk is going to tell me something, especially what I've done and what I've been doing.
He was plotting to have you run off the yard?
Oh, he tried for a mere second. He had a little power for a week. And like I said, communication is everything. Called the right people up, made a phone call. They called that prison. Spider, do your thing. So long story short, those 3 that tried to plot against me, had all of them hit. I had the same try to hit me, I had him hit his homie. Wow. Like, you want to play, mother? So when he hit him, he rolled it up in the hole, pussy. When this guy got hit, he rolled it up too. And the third guy, he rolled it up on the streets. So I was like, you guys came after me. And
you didn't have to touch any of them? You got other people to do it?
They got themselves to do it. I didn't do nothing. The way it happened was, if you're going to do something like that, so cavalier and attempt to take a good brother out, there's consequences. You don't know who I know. You don't know what I am, and you don't know what I'm capable of. Obviously, you know what I did in this prison, and you're jealous of it. Like I said, I was a rock star in that prison. Like, the stuff I got caught with doesn't happen, bro. I was having homemade meals from the streets. Think about that.
So you didn't have to stab these dudes.
They stabbed themselves.
What does that mean?
They did it themselves. Whatever policy they tried, or whatever regulation they tried to enforce on me to their benefit, came right back at them.
I'm seeing when they had to roll up, you didn't have to do it. You said,
"Oh no, I didn't do it." So
that's my question.
So me personally, I didn't do it, but there was other brothers raised their hand that wanted to do that specific one because they were there with that guy before me. Right. When I got there, that guy was, like I said, he thought he was, something special, and I get it. When you're in a position of delegating manpower, you got to have an ego, but you also have to have a resume to back it up. You got to have the foresight and the education to be everything my prison professors taught me. And this guy's resume was weak. So when he went against me, like I said, I didn't play chess. I became the board, and I told myself, I'm going to blast the shit out of you, watch, in my head. There was a number of people on that yard. My old cellie from the Riot, he was on that yard. So when I got there, he was like, hey, man, these fools are hating on you. It's cool. He had my back. A couple of the guys already gave me weapons. Like I said, I'm not supposed to have all this, but there was other brothers there that were like, man, this guy's full of shit. And I said, don't get involved. It's cool. I can take care of myself. I'm a big boy. So I could either play his little dirty game of politics, or I could go to someone like a Theo that knows me. Hey, Theo, check this out. I got a question for you. What's up? Talked it out. Boom. Okay, cool.
Green light.
Green light. You know?
So you got all three of them hit
All three of them.
at the same time?
I made one hit him. Remember the two that two
Right.
idiots? I met, they're best friends on the yard. So I made those two each other. And the other one got scared and he rolled it up, the third one. Wow. It's unfortunate. And
did they tell? Is that why you almost got an attempt murder charge?
oh no, the prison charges you for attempted murder.
But how do they know it was you that ordered it?
I didn't order it. I had my manpower. I always utilize them for the right reasons. If I'm making a decision, I'm the type of person that wants to be sure that the education I have matches up to the experience and the protocol I should be following. So anything I would do, I didn't have to at times. I would bring other brothers into the mix. Like, check this out. This is the situation. Can I get your advice on this matter? This is what I'm thinking of doing. Are you in accordance with that or not? Cool. And I don't need those people, but I'm giving them the information that is required for them to know that it's about to go down. All the checks and balances are there. I don't need your opinion, but I'm asking you, as another brother on this yard, what would you do? And we all talked about it, and the vote was easy. And there was no no's. All right, cool. And there was guys on that yard. My brother's like, nah, I want to take them out. Like, relax. Strip, we got it. I'm going to have these two dumb do each other, watch. And it was all good, all the way around. Like I said, my buddies, I forgot about the story. My buddy called me 4 months ago in prison. In that same prison. I said, hey, fighter. He's all, did you do this and that? I was like, oh, shit, I did. I forgot about it. Shit like that. I don't think about all that shit I did every day, but a move like that, I was cunning. I planned accordingly, and I was disciplined. I could have got off on the yard like, no, you ain't gonna do me dirty. I could have bitched and moaned. No, I was respectful, and I followed the protocol that was given to me the very first moment I stepped in prison, and it worked out for me.
That's a hell of a political answer. Well, Spider, we're glad you're home.
Me too.
Glad you're living peaceful now, raising a beautiful family. Still in Salinas.
Still in Salinas. Was never scared to go back. And most people were like, why would you go back to the very community that is Salinas? It wasn't that I didn't have options. And I'm glad everything worked out. Because I was supposed to go somewhere else, to another state. When I was coming up for, finally to get released, they ask you, family here and there, and I didn't want to stay with my cousins. I didn't want to be that guy. I didn't have a wife. I didn't want to stay with my homies. I had a list, that I wanted to follow, and I still have that to this very day. And I was like, man, I'm gonna go back to Salinas. Like, Salinas is my town. If I survived prison out here, I survived the streets when I was out there, I could survive it again. Because this time I'm more disciplined. I'm more aware of the consequences. Mm-hmm. Don't get me wrong, my wife and I have been places where, she had to see me knock some out, but I didn't start it. Like, I do everything with caution. I don't want to be that person living a good life, telling you a story, and then, hey man, Louis just got arrested for doing some dumbass shit. That ain't me. I control my emotions. I'm not a drug addict, because I think drug addicts and alcoholics, they don't control themselves. They're not in control of their body and mind. And I've always been a person that wanted to be in control of everything, especially myself. Not in control of the situation, but myself. And if I'm doing that, I'm okay. Like, I'm not responsible for you. I used to tell one of my teachers, who used to visit me, nice lady. She doesn't get it. She's a nice white lady. And I used to tell her, look, I'm not in control of what this man wants to do to me. Do you understand that? She's like, well, she's a white lady, nice lady. Well, you can tell the guards. No, it doesn't work like that. Like, I gotta live here. And if I have to live here, I'm gonna live on my terms. And of course, they don't want to hear that. My parents didn't want to hear it, but when I finally came home, I told him, I'm here. No scar on me, Mom. No blemish.
It's remarkable. How many guys do you think going into high-level California prisons with the time that you had and part of the clique, the gang that you're a part of, whether it's, Norteños or, AB dudes, whoever, how many actually make it out?
So that's why I say I represent the super minority. Those of us that do 20 plus years in a level 4 environment, it's hard. You got to factor in that you have to live in that environment for 20 years. It's remarkable to get through it 10 years, but to reach a 20-year mark, people start giving up. Their mind starts betraying them. By then, they're miserable. They might not have anybody. Parents are dead, girlfriend left a long time ago, kids hate them. So their world is that environment. Yeah. And I get it. But I would say the number that come out in good standings with an impressive resume, less than 10%.
Yeah.
I mean, there's more PC prisons and yards in California than active yards. That's a fact. Yeah. I talk to a bunch of my CO buddies all the time. I say, hey, man, I got a question. And they're like, nope, PCs are the dominant force now. Yeah. And I get it. And I mean, it's hard all the way around to do time. But to do time with backstabbers, conniving, drug addicts, degenerates, that's not easy. I mean, the state of California, their politics and the way everything is divided and separated is, from what I hear, is unlike anything in the world.
Well, we'll jump over to the bonus to talk a little bit more about that and catch up with what you're doing now. Louis, Spider-Man, that was a movie. Thank you so much. You really graced us today. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
You want to shout out Salinas? You want people to follow you anywhere? You got social media?
I got social media, but like I said, I'm doing something different.
Yeah.
I'll be back to teach a master lesson about survival later, but I'm doing good things right now.
Yeah, you are.
No, I got some good things lining up, and people don't know what I'm doing. That's what's cool about it,
Luis Gutierrez. Can I say your last name?
Yeah, good.
Luis Gutierrez, a.k.a. Spider. Orale, Holmes.
Orale, Johnny.
Appreciate that, guys. All right, we'll see you over at the Patreon for a little more with Spider. He's out. Thanks, brother.
Thank you.